Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, in my clean and organized craft room. Finally, it has taken me a month to get this place in order, and I am so glad I did, and today I'm gonna show you how I did it. I started this journey after listening to The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, and you can download this book for free from our sponsor Audible with a 30-day trial membership. I have tried purging my craft room before and I just couldn't part with anything. The key to the Konmari method is to gather all of your possessions in a pile and focus on what you choose to keep, not what you're getting rid of. You pick each item up and you ask, does this spark joy? If yes, you keep it. If not, you let it go. I recommend you start with clothes and books, as Marie suggests, to hone your decision-making skills before tackling your precious crafty stash. After I listened through once, I listened to the book again to cement the Konmari method into my brain. That's a great thing about Audible. You get to keep the books you download so you can listen over and over again if you want. Audible is offering a free 30-day trial to my viewers. You can download a book from their site for free, and it's yours to keep regardless if you want to keep subscribing after the 30 days trial period is over. After the 30 days, the Audible subscription is only $14.95 a month, and that gives you a free audiobook and a 30% discount to other audiobook purchases, which is an amazing value. I also listened to Marie Kondo's second book, Spark Joy, and it's a nice refresher if you've listened to her first book already, or if you want to get more in depth with some of the topics. To learn more, please visit audible.com/frugalcrafter to start your 30-day trial today. Now, without further ado, let's go see the before picture, and you can see how I got this all in order. I will also put links in the video description to so you can jump around to different parts of the video if you're interested in how I did the ribbon or how I did stamps or how I did paint or whatever. That way you can find what pertains to your specific art or craft, and hopefully it'll help you do some purging and decluttering on your own. I do really recommend that you read or listen to the book. It's really, it is life-changing. It changes your mindset. And the funny thing was that after I started decluttering my closet and my books, my husband followed suit. He started to pull things out and get rid of things. The kids and my husband and I did books together that we co-owned, because you can only really declutter your own stuff. You gotta let everybody do their own thing. But it inspired everyone else to look at their possessions in a new way and start getting rid of things that they don't want and tidying up and cleaning their room and making their environment nicer to be in, which has really helped our whole household feel much more harmonious and just cleaner. So it's been life-changing, it's been magical, and I just can't recommend it enough. So without further ado, let's go see the before, and I'll show you how I managed to get this room in order. Well, folks, here it is, my Waterloo. This is the craft area that I'm going to I'm going to succeed in decluttering and actually it's quite organized. That's a thing about hoarders. We're very good at storing and organizing things. This was my last ditch attempt to create some order, was throwing this piece of fabric up, but as you can see, I'm not fooling anybody. So much stuff. Every drawer is packed in here. Every bin is full to bursting. Piled to the ceiling. My storage knows no bounds. Actually, those binders are full of stamps. It's actually a very, very useful storage. I can find what I need in seconds. They're just not very pretty. So I hope to remedy that. I'm not going to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on new binders, but I have a frugal idea to remedy that. I've got a lot of ink pads. I'm going to decide whether I need them all or not. I also have mini ink pads upstairs rather, in my office. All those little bins are embellishments and doodads and tchotchkes and haberdashery and all sorts of things, and all those are beads. And when was the last time I made jewelry? I don't think I'm going to get rid of those, but look at all the stamps, sentiment stamps up there. I have foam stamps and stickers and scrapbooking things and wire, tins of wire, and that thing in the middle is like backstock. It's extra beading tools, jewelry making tools. Everything is just packed. There's my wood stamps. My wood stamp collection. I mean, I'm gonna pull this trash can out of the way to see the full breadth of the wood stamp collection. It's like two rows deep in a lot of these things. I'd kicked myself that I didn't buy more of these racks because they were $5 a piece on a yard sale. But you know, that would just be more stuff. This is all paper. This actually is a great way to store paper. It was a poster board rack from Rite Aid when Rite Aid was going out of business. I might have some stuff I can weed out of there. I'm not sure. These are all different medias and supplies and things, and I made the mistake about a year ago after I filmed my Craftsy class. I decided that I wanted to make an area I wanted to film. I used to film on the back side of my desk there, and my camera is usually attached to that stick with a purple thing on the end, and then I decided that I was going to film over here on this desk because then I could have a background which sometimes would look decent, and I could use a couple cameras and have it all fancy. Then I realized that I really, for the amount of videos I like to put out, I can't do that kind of editing. It's just not going to work. So under this desk is full with more storage. I'm going to move this whole table out, and I might even cut it shorter. This is a hollow core door, so I might ask my husband to cut it shorter and make a smaller table. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about a lot of things right now, except for the fact that this is way insane and too busy and too full, and I'm not going to use many of the things I have just because I have too much. That basket, I actually had like 4 boxes of washi tape, and I just dumped them all into that basket, and just the one experience I've had using them since I did that has been so much better because I can see everything I have. I mean, now there's some random ice cube trays in there. What is wrong with me? Then this is all like stained glass scraps that I use for like glass fusing. Haven't done that in a while. I can't even really get in here. It's so narrow. I can walk through to find something, but I hate to because it's such a pain. I got bins of ribbon and glass rods and papers and so many things. And under there, I've got more things. I got a space heater that doesn't really warm up the area, so I have to work up in my office. I know, first world problems. Random bags. Bolts of organza fabric that I probably will never use. I've got to walk all the way around the desk. I've got liquid watercolors and inks and things that I want to use, but they're very inconvenient there. I've got stacks of magazines that I've been published in that I want to keep. I also have some teaching supplies. Those pastels down there are all for teaching, not ones I use personally. I've got random, that's another embellishment storage, and it's full of little embellishments that I never use because I never think to come around here and use them. And there's another stack of magazines that I've been published in, which I'm going to keep, but maybe they don't need to be here in my workspace. Pencils and things that I love, random ribbons. I'm going to do ribbons first. That's going to be very gratifying to get through that because I have a lot and I don't use them very much. But papers and cookie cutters and just so many oddball things. I don't know how I collected so much. Those are 3 totes of yarn and felt, like soft craft supplies, to go crafting things. I've got cardstock. Actually, this is a great way to store cardstock because it's in a record cabinet. I've been using that for years, and it is very useful. More neutral papers, and this ribbon rack up here, I got to do something about that. They're all sagging. It's like the back started to sag on it, so the ribbons are just kind of a mess, and that was a horrible idea. Those well, it was a horrible idea for me because I never used those ribbons, but I put them on big rings on bobbins, and they get dusty because I don't use them enough. It'd be great for somebody that uses them a lot. The dies. I like my thick dies a lot. The thin dies, I think I'm going to weed those down to just my basic shapes because I really don't use specific dies that much. Stamps and die sets, I might actually get rid of the dies that go with the stamp sets. I don't know what I'm going to do. Embossing folders, die cutting paraphernalia, laminators. It's a lot. It's a lot. And because I'm good at acquiring, but I'm not good at purging, a lot of these things I will keep. My goal is to get rid of some storage, to get rid of enough stuff that I have some storage, to possibly separate my teaching supplies from my personal supplies. This is a lot of personal supplies in here. I love printmaking, but I don't do it that much because I think it's because I've got so many other things that just, look at all the jelly plates. That's insane. Because I have so many things that distract me before I get to do the things that I really love. Another easel. I've got a couple easels under there. I've got paint boxes, embellishment, fabric storage. It's just, I don't know. And look at that. I love my fabric folded like that. And I did that before I read the Konmari book, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, all these most used tools that I reach for. I don't like the milk crate there. I thought that was a great idea because I could put my laptop up there and watch TV while I was working, but then I just ended up wasting time and watching TV when I should be working. So yeah, that didn't work out too well. And then the big problem, I don't know if it's a really big problem, wheel stamps. When's the last time I used a wheel stamp? And oh, this is a pretty good storage thing. This is a canvas over the door hanger for paint. It actually works really great for that purpose. So here on this cabinet, I have little clear containers that I glued magnets on, and it holds random embellishments. Embellishments, that'll be after the ribbon. I can't wait to tackle embellishments. But then I've got these racks of products and things that are my children's, and whenever they go to do a project, they go right to my stuff. They rarely go to their own supplies. They go right to my my stuff. And then there's games, and you can see my craft area has become narrower and narrower as the years have gone by. There's like photo props in that chest, but honestly, I pretty much now just photograph things on this white background here, which is piled with crap. I mean, seriously, this is insane. Just insane. Oh yeah, and some more, like, this is all craft storage here, like the kids' craft storage, but I mean, I think I'm gonna have to have them look at it and see if it's things that they actually want, because I think there's a lot of things that have just been forgotten and are not wanted. And then I've got some really interesting, cool things here that I'd like to recycle for classroom supplies, but I just haven't had the time, or I've forgotten about it when I do have the time. So that's what I'm gonna work with. I'll probably end up clearing off the pool table. I've got some empty boxes ready to sort and go, and I'll probably just end up spreading things out there to decide, or maybe I'll clear off and move my big table and do all my sorting there. I don't know. I just my husband brought me home this from work today. He asked me if I wanted it, and I thought it'd be a great thing to sort things as I was using them. So, and then I don't have to keep it after it fulfills that purpose. That's the thing. Don't keep things after they fulfill their purpose, I guess. So yeah, I've got so much work ahead of me, but I will take you along for the journey. And this is probably going to be a super long video, but yeah, we're going to make some progress. I'm feeling very optimistic. So I'll catch you back in a little bit once I've started something. Alright, I have the hiccups and 2 boxes of punches. They're both this size. My husband made them for me out of plywood to make them strong enough to hold punches. Oh, my hiccups. So I'm going to dump them out and go through them. Oh, and I just lost one on the floor. I don't use punches that much, so I'm looking for a quick win here and hoping I can get rid of a bunch of them and my hiccups. This is why I've got hiccups. I figured I'd have a little relaxation. I'm such a lightweight. I've had 2 sips of a twisted tea and a lemonade, and I've got hiccups. Oh my word. Pink elephant. Oh my gosh. Look at this. There are so many punches here. For someone who doesn't use punches, this is pretty insane. So I am going to sort through them, and then I will show you what I kept and what I got rid of when I am done. I'm looking forward to this. I'm listening to a Dave Barry audiobook too while I'm doing this, so it's making it actually quite enjoyable. Okay, punches are done. I actually got rid of this many box full, and I'll probably give them to a preschool. And so what I think I'm going to do, I did test all my hand punches. I had a bunch of these. I have 5 of the 1/4 inch size. I have one that's a little bit bigger, one that's probably 18th inch, and then 2 16th inch ones. But since I use those for, you know, classes and projects and stuff, I'm going to keep those. And I think what I'm going to do is actually take any of these squeeze punches, and I tested them all, make sure they worked really well. I'm going to put them with my decorative scissors because I often use them together to make like borders on scrapbook pages and cards. So I'm going to grab my scissors out now and see what I have there for duplicates that I could remove. Okay, clearly my scissors look like a lot more when I have them dumped out like that. I think actually what I'm going to do is look through, only pick out the things that I absolutely love from the decorative scissors and that I think I'll use again. And I'm going to pitch the rest, and then I'm going to put all of these punches back into those 2 bins, but one will be for decorative scissors and the hand punches, and the other ones will be for the shape punches. And I'll show you how that looks when it's done. So as I was looking at the decorative edge scissors, I looked at this other bucket that was on my shelf next to them, and I saw that I have 2 paper crimpers, and they work pretty well. A Fiskars one, and this one here is like a wavy one. They're both Fiskars, so they're great quality. They're fun to use with kids. And I have these other shape tools here. They're more like rotary cutters. They actually went with this machine that I decided not to keep called a Creatopia, but you can run it along and you can cut long strips of these different decorative shapes. And I got rid of the machine, but I kept these runners for some reason. I might get rid of these. I'm not sure, but if I keep them, they're going to go in my drawer with these other things. So I ended up, actually, I went through my scissors and I really didn't have any duplicates. I had scallops of different sizes, but I do use them. So, and I bring these, I do actually use these quite often to edge a card. So I decided to keep them. I did put a rubber band again around all of my duplicate hole punches. And these are, I'm going to keep all the hand ones because I do use those to make paper edges. So what I'm going to do, since I use those all for the same thing, is I'm going to put them in here. I am going to put these crimpers in here as well. They could go with embossing folders, but I think they'll just be better in here. I will have to dig for them a little bit, but that's not too bad. I'm going to put the duplicate punches down here on the bottom. And then I'm just going to toss in the rest of these hand punches. I think they'll be pretty easy to find because I don't have a ton of them. I really like this one. It's for doing like their little slots so you can feed skinny ribbon through them. And then there's just a bunch of various shapes. And I do want these round ones handy because I use them the most. So they're actually going to go in the bin with my scissors. So I know when I see these silver handles here that those are my circles. I could put them, actually I could put them over the edge of this bucket like that so that I can kind of just grab them and see what size they are really quickly and grab them because I do reach for those a lot. And obviously I like them because I bought a lot of doubles, but I do use them for teaching. And who knows, maybe I'll do it again and decide I haven't used them enough and they can go. But for now, that's where they're going to be. And I also have, I'm not sure why I have tin snips here. I occasionally will do projects where I think I'm going to put these with my framing supplies because I don't know if I necessarily know to look, I probably would know to look for my tin snips in here, but I don't know. That one I'm worried is going to stick up too high. So there is, there's bin one. And here's the next bin. I'm a little bummed that I didn't get rid of as much as I thought I was going to, but it's still quite a bit. And hopefully all these punches will fit in here. These are really really great heavy duty punches for like vinyl. This is a great one for making packaging at old punch, like chipboard to make hanging packaging thing. Those should probably go in the other one actually because they are a like squeezy punch. So I'm gonna put those in there, I think. And the only thing is I want to put these in here so that the punches that, these are all really ones I use a lot. I want to make sure the ones I don't use so much are on the bottom. So that way I end up having my favorites that I reach for a lot on top. And the other ones I won't mind digging for if I have need for them. So these ones that go to the brad maker. Do you remember those little button makers? I bought a bunch of the button stuff in bulk, and I was still kind of afraid, not afraid to use them, but I didn't want to use them. I was like, well, what if I run out? So I just need to not be afraid of running out, and I just need to actually use them because they are so pretty. They make such lovely embellishments for cards. I think sometimes we just get, they're too precious to use, and then we kind of forget about them. Oh, I hope my sticking up ones fit. This is going to be awful if I get rid of all these punches and I still have a problem storing them. I'm going to be really bummed out. Oh, you know what? I can have this go over the top though, because this isn't, this is shallower than the shelf it's going in. So if they stick out from the top, that's not that big of a deal. I was kind of on the fence about these right here. They're these layering squares, and I think I'm going to get rid of them because I have die cuts. I would be much more likely to reach for a die cut to do a shape like this, and I'm sure somebody could use these in a classroom or whatnot. So knowing that they'll go and be used somewhere, I feel great getting rid of those. And this I bought to make jewelry cards. I am going to hang on to that. So there we go. These boxes are so full, but I did get rid of 2 buckets on my shelf, so I feel good about that. My goal is to actually reduce some of the storage in my craft room, so I think we're going in the right direction. I'm off to listen to more Dave Barry, and I'll catch you back when I have my next category out. I think I'm going to do dies next because I don't have a ton, and I think it would be very doable to just go through these right here. I tend to only use basic shapes, so I'm probably going to be sticking to a lot of basic shapes and passing along some more specific things that I really don't need because I have electronic die cutters. So we've got this big shoebox packed full, and let's see what I can get rid of. Okay, this was pretty easy. I got rid of a stack of die sets here. A lot of them were like different images that came with magazines, or I mean, these I've had for a while, but I'm all done making like baby and kids scrapbooks, so I really don't feel like I need many of these, and I have other stamps to do that. Some were promotional items that were sent to me that they're lovely, but I've used them once, they don't suit me very well. That I've never used. It came in a magazine. It's cute, but I don't know, I just don't think I'll use it. And I know some people will use it, and to send it to somebody, like I have other hearts and other keys that I really love, so I'm probably not going to use that one. They're lovely. They've all been, I can tell these have been used, these Cuttlebug ones, because they got a little, I think they got a little bent because I have a big shot and not a Cuttlebug. This one was very difficult for me to use. I don't have the patience for it. I'm only keeping one die that I find difficult to use just because it's so pretty, and it's a doily die from Cherry Lynn. It's just so pretty. And these, I did use these a few times, but I just really didn't care for them. They make tags that are embossed and they're lovely. But I got them, I bought them, I probably partially bought them because they were only on sale for $2, and then I used them a couple times, and I don't see myself using them again. I didn't really like the design embossed out as much. Now sometimes I decided I would go through my little tea box of dies. I also went through my thick roll dies, but I don't have many of those, and those were collected one at a time when I had coupons, so I really thought long and hard before I bought each one of them. So those are staying. I'm very, very happy with those. And then I was looking through my little, this is a tea box that I keep my small dies in, and I was just looking through and realizing that there are things in here that are kind of strange, like these two frames. Why aren't they with my regular dies? Oh, because they go to these little frames. They go to these embossing folders. It was somebody sent me this as a gift. They're an Anna Griffin embossing folder. They're beautiful, but I don't, for some reason, these aren't with my embossing things, so I never think to use them when I'd go for an embossed design, and that's foolish. So I really like them, and I want to use them, so they need to be stored differently so that I remember to use them, but they all have to be together, so I don't want to store these with dies because then I'll forget that they go with this. So I've got to think of a different way to keep these together where, like with my embossing folder, so I'll remember to use them. The other thing I saw in here, I don't have a lot of small dies, and I do like most of them because they're all pretty much buttons, photo corners, or, you know, tiny little window cuts. And I have the State of Maine, which I don't cut die. Don't use your die cuts, especially if they have foam backing on glitter paper. Look at this. I use that like glitter paper from the Dollar Tree, and now my like State of Maine is like permanently glittered. It's bedazzled. It's a bedazzled State of Maine. But it's a really cute, cute little die. So these are all pretty much basic shapes and little flowers and things I use quite frequently, except for these. And I'm like, why are these in here? They're little, like mini, little teeny weeny embossing folders. So I think I'm gonna put these with my letterpress and embossing things for now, and I might end up getting rid of them when I go through those items, but they shouldn't be here. I'm kind of wondering if I want to keep this set or if I just want to take what I have left for these dies and put them in my shoebox here, because look at all this room. I have like, I probably got rid of like a third of volume of my dies, and all of these ones are all very basic shapes that I use, very, you know, nested labels, nested shapes, basic shapes. That's what I happen to go for because I have electronic die cutters. I don't need to have all these little specific shapes because I never remember that I have them, and I know other people would like them, so they're going right in the box. So I'm gonna put this in the box, and I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna put my tape back on and work on this, I guess. Maybe ribbon. Ribbon's gonna be a little daunting because I have a lot of it, or maybe I'll do embossing folders. I'll have to go see. Okay, so I actually did go through the tea box and found a couple dies to get rid of. A little flower one because I have punches that are very similar. A little bug that came with the Ellison die cut. I think I might have used it once. And this really skinny photo corner that you would fold up and you make a photo corner, but I never really liked it. I always cut where it should have folded. It was kind of irritating. So what I did was I just found a little box and I cut the flaps off, and I'm sticking this in the front of this where I have my dies, and I also took a magnet sheet and I put these window dies on here. It's this one tab and 3 windows, and this one actually cuts out like a postage stamp, and I have a little mask that I use. I've been using this mask for years. I use this all the time to make little postoids. I really like it. So here's going to be more convenient because I won't have to dig through this tea box every time I want to get my dies. And then I thought, well, this gives me enough extra space that I took all my photo corners and I put them a rubber band around them, and I use them several times a year, just for accents on cards. My little button dies and button embossers. These I love. They're so fun, and I can make little buttons on a mat board and cardstock, and I just really enjoy it. And then I have a couple little flower dies. I have one more, or maybe it's one more leaf die that goes with these two, and I'm hoping I find it during this cleanup. It probably just fell behind my desk where I die cut, so I'm hoping I find that. And this, I love this little embossed snowflake. I've used this on so many cards. I've probably cut 200 or 300 of these in my lifetime. And then I thought, well, this is perfect because then I could put my little Anna Griffin frames in here, and all of these little embossing things. And I've got enough room in here because I got rid of all those dies that I can put these beautiful embossing folders right in here. And I don't think they'll be confusing because they're right on a shelf with my other stuff. And so these are going to go in the box. I am going to look through these and most likely get rid of them all, just because I don't see myself embossing tiny little areas other than like the center of those embossing folders, because I mean, they're very cutesy. They're not really my style. Some of them are alright because they're flourishes, but I think these are probably can go. So that's the update so far. Alright, the last little category I'm going to tackle now is going to be my mini paper pads, and I know I should probably get all of my paper together and do all my paper at once, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just do my mini paper pads in this box here because I use a mini paper pads for card making, and I tend to use the larger papers for scrapbooking. So, and I'm really tired of a lot of this paper because I use it so much. I go to this first. This is my scrap bin first, and I'm just kind of sick of it. So these are actually a lot of fun. These are different origami and paper weaving kits that I've received for presents. I think these actually probably all came from my sister because she knows I love that sort of thing. I actually think I might take these upstairs and put them with the games and puzzles because they're fun projects that the kids and I will all do.
You talking to me?
No, I'm talking to my people on YouTube. That's Mr. Frugal, guys.
Gosh, you won't.
I also stashed this origami book in here too because I have my origami papers. To tell you the truth, I bought this origami book on my honeymoon in Hawaii, and these are really difficult origami projects, so I'm thinking about getting rid of this, but it is kind of also a keepsake, so I'm not sure on that. I'm going to go through these pad by pad, and some I'm going to keep and some I'm going to get rid of, but you can see the size of the box here. It's about 12 inches wide. It slides into one of the Target cubbies, the 9 cubby units, so that's how big it is, and it's pretty full of paper. So this is what I have, and when we come back you'll see what I kept. Okay, this was actually a really easy box to do. This is what I am keeping, just this small stack here. And actually, 3 of these are sketchbooks. They're not even pattern papers. So I might find something else to do with these so they're not taking up a whole cubby, or I might just grab all my current working sketchbooks and put them in there. I did find a couple little origami project kits. So those, I'm going to probably keep my origami stuff in there. I did find some little origami project kits that I think I'll probably end up either giving away or making a little kit for the kids at the library to do. I bought them on an impulse. They are only from the dollar store, so it's not like it's anything precious to give away, and if I haven't done it yet, then I'm probably not going to do it. So what I decided to do was pass along all of these paper packs that I'd used. A lot of times these packs have like 2 or 3 of the same sheet, and I've used these to death. And then there's one that I did a few cards, but then I realized that like the tones on this paper just really wasn't my style. There were a few sets like that, but I definitely had made enough cards that I felt good about, that I'd used up enough. There were a few paper pads that I'd used pretty much to death, and I don't have that much left of them, so I'm just going to put those in my my paper scrap storage so they won't get forgotten, and I will use them. And then there was a couple here where there's just a few papers I'm going to take out for my scrap bins, not many, and then the rest. In fact, you know what, I think I'm just going to put this whole thing right in the giveaway pile, but there's a few things in here that are kind of pretty that I would put in my scrap paper paper bin. There's sometimes I've noticed that I have more of a discerning taste now. Like when I see certain repeated patterns, to me, I don't like the way they look if they're not random enough, if they're too like kind of cookie cutter repeated. And I just think it's something that, the paper designs have come so far that I really notice stuff like that, and I don't want to use certain prints in my work. So So just this little stack here to get sorted into my paper scraps. This is what I'm keeping, and this is what I am getting rid of. So I'm getting rid of more than half of my mini papers. So yay me! All right, that's it for me tonight, I think, and I'll see you tomorrow when I tackle something else. Okay, in this pile are the stamp and die sets that were in the shoebox, and I first was flipping through them last night, but I think I was overwhelmed with how much I had been deciding so far. So I decided to take a break, and I'm coming back today, and I think by dumping everything out and then picking up each individual thing and only putting the things in that spark joy, I will be able to make better choices and actually get rid of something, whereas if I'm just flipping through it, then everything looks good and I decide I want to keep everything. But as I look at these, I'm thinking, you know, I'm probably not going to use this, so I should probably give that to somebody who will use it. So, like that, it's really cute. It's a stamp and die set, but I don't often use like cutesy images, so you know, somebody else will. This, however, is really cutesy, but I like it, so I think I'll at least use it once for this year's Easter cards, and then if I don't think I'll use it again, then it can go. But I think the act of just dumping it all out and putting your hands on each one is really a good idea. So, oh, and like my fuzzy bathrobe, it's like, I don't know, it's below 0 outside, it's so cold. We had cookie booths today, so cold, so I am like bundled up. I got a sweater, so many layers, but I'm gonna be warm. So we'll get back when I have this. This was completely full with them all standing on their end, so we'll see what I have when I'm done. Okay, my apologies for the furnace. It's probably going to be on quite a bit tonight because it is cold. So this is what I ended up keeping. I didn't get rid of a whole lot, and I did put the couple stamp sets here in the front that I want to use soon. I've got this cute Easter one. And also this, which I hadn't really given a second thought to until I saw these cute little petals, and I thought it'd be really fun to do the petals around that in rainbow order. I'm going to do one card like that, and I have used this a few times. I tend to use the sentiments with a little banner die cut there. So you know, I have used that for that kind of function a few times. And I'm going to do one card with a flower, and then I'll decide whether I want to keep it beyond that, and I'll use that for some Easter cards this year, and then decide whether I want to keep it or not, because it's cute. I think I would at least like to use it once, but I don't know if it's going to spark joy after that. You know, it's kind of fun. The ones I got rid of were these were actually all ones that were given to me, and although I was grateful for the gift, I really don't see myself using them, and it's worse to keep something that you're not going to use when you can give it to somebody else and they will use it. I mean, that one, maybe I'll put that one in a maybe pile. I might do something with that. I don't know, maybe I'll stick it in there and see how it, see, this is where you get in dangerous territory when you start going back. That's cute, but I have other ice cream cone popsicle stamp sets that I like better, so even though that has dies with it, I really don't think I'm using it that much. And this is really cute, and I've done some cards with it, but I don't think I'm going to do any more with it because I have a lot of other Halloween stamps that I prefer. So so only a small little get rid of pile from this, but hey, it's progress. This is my embossing folder storage. As you can see, it's chock-a-block full. I really don't think there's much I'm going to get rid of here because I do tend to use most of these, but we'll take them all out and we'll see what we keep. Alright, here's what I have left. I really didn't get rid of a lot here. I looked at every single thing, held every single thing in my hand, and decided that they're all things that I use, with the exception of a few small things. These plates, you might think, why are you keeping those as they're so out of date? But really, the patterns are still fine, and I use these in my kids' classes a lot because we can use them with a tool to emboss paper and not have to have a machine. And also I use them for crayon rubbings. The kids just really enjoy having these, and I use them too. I can even use them in my die cut machine if I want to emboss, like subtly emboss a texture. So all of these are really well used. I did divide them up a little bit. I took images that were more like frames, like that, and other different images, and put them together. And then I took things that were more like, instead of it being like a pattern you would emboss, which I usually use, like it's an all over like a design, like a picture that you would like probably chalk and make a card that way. I put those together too because that would be a very quick and easy card. And usually when I'm going for an embossing folder, I'm going for a pattern. These are all basic patterns, but they're all different. or a different orientation or a different scale. So I think that maybe making up a few cards like this would be fun, and if I find out that I don't use them that much, then I can always pass them on at that point. So what I got rid of from here, first of all, I did take a few things I'm going to move to my stencil drawer instead of, because I generally would use brass stencils for embossing, but now I don't do that very often. So I'm going to take all my brass stencils and put them in with my my regular stencils, because I tend to use these more with texture pastes now than I would with you know, embossing with a stylus. So, you know, you change the way you use things, and it makes sense to keep them with the supplies that are similar. And this is what I got rid of. I don't think I went through here. A bunch of brass stencils. They've all been well loved and well used, but it's time to pass them on. I don't really use them anymore. This pattern, which I didn't really care for, it's all daisies, but I don't like the way they're all lined up like soldiers. I don't know if you can really see that, but I prefer like patterns to be a little offset. So I just personally don't like this, that design very much. And I have better ones that I'd reach for first. I got a couple of these little embossing Sizzix embossing folders, and I never really used them. I never really liked them that much, so I'm not even sure. I think they came as like a free gift with purchase type thing. So these are going to go in the bin to be given away. I don't know what I'm going to go for next, but you'll know as soon as I do. The final two things on that shelf were background stamps and letterpress materials. I really don't think I'm going to get rid of much here because I like them, but I'm still going to take them out and put my hands on them and see what I want to keep. I'm actually thinking I'm going to store these somewhere else, and that'll kind of eliminate the need for this piece of storage and give me a little space back in my room. Well, I didn't end up getting rid of any of my background stamps, really, but I found myself continuously smiling every time I picked one up. I love using them, layering them. Most of them are very, like, useful patterns, generic patterns I'd use over and over again. Very much like my embossing folders. That's why I keep those stamps over with my embossing folders, because I tend to use them as backgrounds in the same manner. And here you can see a couple, these were like Sculpey texture mats, and they're the same size as the wheels, the roller wheels from Rollergraph and Stampin' Up. So I'm wondering if maybe I should either put those on wheels or maybe I should unmount the wheel ones. But I really like using the wheel ones on wheels. So I'll think about that a little bit. The stamps I took out of there, these are Stampscape type stamps. So I'm thinking I really ought to put these with my scenery stamps. Even though they're big like a background, I feel like they should be with my scenes because I'm not using them as background, so they really shouldn't be in there. And then these stamps are just large, but they're not really background. So I've got this beautiful frame with a tiger lily on it, this pretty kind of vintage woman, and then I've got this balcony scene, which I'm not sure about this. These are going to go, I think I'm going to have a maybe box just because, or an uncategorized box for me to look at when I'm looking at rubber stamps as a whole, when I pull out all my regular stamps and put them together. But since I do use these like backgrounds, like embossing folders, I'm putting them in that category. Now, when I was looking through the container with my letterpress stuff, and I just took my letterpress stuff, I picked up everyone, I do still love them, and I put them with my letterpress paper because I have plenty of room in the big bin for that. I have these long embossing folders, and for whatever reason, I forget to use them. So I think I'm going to keep these with my extended plates, along also this long leaf die from Sizzix. I'm going to put this all with my extended plates so that I'll remember them when I'm looking at my dies. So I think this is just a situation of these not being stored in a very good place for me to remember to use them. So that's also what you have to, sometimes when you're doing that and you're picking up things, you realize you do love something, it does spark joy, but you've forgotten about it because of where you stored it. It just didn't make sense with where you go to look for things. So lots of lessons to be learned here. It's at this point I see a flaw with the drag everything you have out into the middle of the room and sort it mantra of the Konmari method. I decided I'd pull out all my ribbon. So, and I haven't even taken the ribbon out of their bins because if you know anything about ribbon, once you have it out of its confined space, it kind of explodes into 10 times its girth. So that's a ribbon shelf I made out of foam core a few years ago. I do have a tutorial about that on my YouTube channel. I really liked it because I could set all the ribbons on the rails and take out what I wanted, and it worked great, except it does not contain all of my ribbons. And the back of it got a little saggy, so they kind of dip in the middle sometimes, so that's kind of a bummer. It doesn't look as pretty as it did originally. Maybe I can fix it, I'll see. Then I've got this crate of tulle, which I don't use tulle all that often. A lot of these products here, a lot of the ribbons, I have to disclose, are from some work I did for Paper Mart and some work I did for Offray, so I have a lot. I I love making hand-dyed seam binding, and that's where I keep all my crinkled dyed seam binding in there. And apparently there's like a photo organizer wallet in there too. I've got 3 of these cubes like full, and they have little drawers they slide into. I want to reduce the ribbon amount that I have here. One of the things that I did that it works if you don't have a very dusty area, or if you get through your scraps at a reasonable pace, which I don't. I had wound all these small ribbon scraps onto bobbins. They'd gotten a little dusty, and I honestly just never reached for them, so probably a lot of those are going to be just thrown in the trash. But I'm going to see what is good, what I want to keep, what's good enough to pass along, and what I just have to trash, and hopefully end up with some smaller space. I love my bird cages with the lace in them, so that'll probably keep. I'll probably just kind of dust it, maybe blow it with some compressed air or something. But yeah, I got my work cut out for me here. Wish me luck. I really don't even know where to start with this one, but I'm gonna put my audiobook back on, zone out, and start putting hands on everything and seeing what sparks me some joy. Okay, ribbon took a long time. I hope you can see this. My room is a mess. So this was one of the bins. It was full of ribbon. I completely emptied it out, found a different home for it. Basically, I wanted all my ribbon together because it was kind of in different containers, because my stash grew at different times depending on who I was working for, and this crate was all full of larger spools of ribbon, which I rehoused. I had a dowel hanging from my ceiling that was about 3 feet long that was just packed with wider ribbon that was getting really dusty. This was full of narrow ribbon, like the kind that go on sale for like $4 for $1 at the craft store, so not very expensive ones. So what I did was I decided to get rid of duplicate spools, just keep the full spools and get rid of anything that was duplicate. I might have kept a couple of the same like cream and white ones just because they were really really useful. And then I'm just gonna pan this around so you can see the boxes that I kind of resorted. I did have to get one more box than what I originally had with ribbon because I got rid of so many other containers, so I put my narrow ribbon there. That's what was on that that shelf I just showed you, except I also had thicker ribbon on there, but I ended up putting them in a different drawer. So I got this one with some kind of like 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch size grosgrain ribbon and some pattern ribbon. I wanted to have stuff as visible as possible. It wasn't absolutely possible for everything to be on its side, but I did my best. Like you might have to lift out a little tray to see something, but it wasn't a big deal. I might like downsize more ribbon, but I actually found that I missed a lot of these, and I was really happy to find them. I'd kind of forgotten some of them, like all the rickracs. I love rickracs, and I love pom-pom ribbons. I love ribbons that are white that I can dye. I just thought that was really fun. I have not gone through the tool yet. I went through my seam binding. I had my seam binding in an old salad. Like there's stuff I'd crinkled already in a salad box, you know, the clear salad box. And I had the big things of salad because we go through a lot of those big things of salad. So I put all my seam binding spools in here, and then the crinkled stuff, so that way I'd have it just ready to go. I did get rid of one of my spools of black narrow seam binding because I had like 3, so I kept 2, got rid of 1. Because I mean, there's like 100 yards in one of those things. How much of that am I going to use? I'm just about to dump it all on the floor too. That would be tragic. Tragic after all this sorting. I put some of the bigger spools in here that were in the crate and hanging from the ceiling. Did have to put it on their side. I'm not that happy about that, but they were too tall to stand upright. But they'd get dusty if I put them from the ribbon spool on the ceiling. So from that dowel. So I decided to, you know, sacrifice a little convenience just to be able to not have them all dusty and faded and stuff. And there's my other box. I know that's really untidy, but I may end up using some of that for wrapping rather than crafting. I'm not sure. But what I got rid of, besides what I threw away, this humongous box right here. I don't know if I can't even get in front of the camera. This really big box there. And then I got another box about that size also. And I threw away scraps and any costume ribbon that I found, like tassel trim or coin trim, I just put in the big brandy snifter that I had scraps in, and I stuck that over on my shelf near my die cutting stuff, just because it's a glass thing and I have a cement floor and I just didn't want it to get ruined. I can probably pan up there. Please keep in mind that, gosh, it's really, really messy. So it's on that bottom shelf there over with all my other die cutting, embossing junk. So there's that, and I think I'm gonna make a path, put these drawers back in their spaces, and probably take a break for the night. So we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, I'm working on fabric. I wasn't even going to tape this, but because I thought, oh, this will be a piece of cake, no problem. I'm just going to like go through everything, throw away a bunch of stuff, have all kinds of room, take my felt out of my, you know, big random soft craft drawer and put them in there, and it'll be easy. But I quickly found myself overwhelmed. I've just, all this stuff here is just stuff I pulled out of the drawers. I did empty this top one. I cut down a box there to hold sewing machine, feet, and scissors and tools and things. Sorry to jump you all around like that. Sewing machine oil and larger pieces of fabric there. The next one down is all my fat quarters, which I really didn't do much to because I already had all those standing up and I had been through my fabric fairly recently. That's all. I really like all those fat quarters, and that's what I use. I don't tend to use bigger pieces. The bigger pieces I had, well, I bought a nice fabric shop in Boston, so I just wanted to hang on to them, and I emptied out those. So I have 3 empty containers. I did get rid of that fabric, and that's a rhinestone maker in that little container there, and I have that bag of trash that I've started. It's basically scraps I don't think anybody else would want. Now I need to go through this stuff and figure out what would anybody actually want. What do I want to keep? I have a lot of duplicates. I have duplicates of spools of black and white thread. But those are things I'm probably going to use. I have stuff I know I'm going to use, but then I have all kinds of straight pins. I have things that were given to me. I've got zippers, which I will use on like little bags and stuff. I tend to just make little crafts down here. I don't really sew garments. I have this fabric that I bought for a lining of my coat. I have a nice wool coat that I really love, but the lining has just pretty much worn out, and I was going to sew a new lining for it, but I think I need to bring that upstairs because I do any garment sewing upstairs. I only do little craft sewing down here, so that's going to go upstairs. I think what I'll do is I'll just get my felt out, get that folded up, Konmari style on its edge, and get that in the cupboard, and just show you the cupboard where I'm done, I guess. Okay, got the table cleared off. That box just has that thread and that fabric for lining my coat, which I'll probably do upstairs. And everything, well, I'll show you what I'm getting rid of first, because that's kind of exciting. That huge tote. You know, it doesn't look that huge, but it's pretty big. It's got a lot of felt. I pulled that tote over here because I had felt in it, and styrofoam, just random kind of like kids craft things that I would do like with kids at the library or with my kids for projects, but it was way more than I needed. So I'm probably going to see if the school wants any of that. And swinging over here to my cabinet, I've switched out of my fuzzy bathrobe into my winter coat. I have all my felts here. I folded them the craft store felt in half, and then I folded bigger pieces up so that it would be the same size, and I just kind of put it in here. I put my decorative stuff down here. I don't have much of it, but like the, you know, embossed felt or pattern felt or whatnot, but everything else is just plain. I thought I had a lot more variety of colors, but I pretty much just have like Christmas, Valentine's, and a couple like colors that I like. I thought I'd have more like kind of crazy colors. This one I have my larger pieces of fabric, and I have a piece of canvas for like doing stretch canvases or whatnot, or some, I could use it for whatever. It's just canvas, it's not primed or anything. And I've got some polished cotton and just some larger yard goods that I'm not sure what I want to do with, but I picked them up. I picked the polished cotton up in Boston. I thought it was really pretty. I have tools and like needles and things. I just cut down a box to fit. Straight pins. I did get rid of a few big boxes of straight pins because I had so many. These are T-pins, but I had tons of pins. I have pinking shears and scalped pinking shears and sewing machine feet and stuff in there. Thimbles, you know, the stuff you need for sewing. All my fat quarters are still in here. I also have a little quilting kit that I got for Christmas. It's a table runner project there, so it is a Christmas pattern, so I'll probably pull it out this fall to make, because I just don't feel like doing Christmas projects right now. Here I have Velcro. I've got this set of thread. It's like a spool and bobbin. They don't fit any of the machines that I have, but I have a sewing kit stocked upstairs, so anytime I need to mend something, I can get the color to match the thread, because my hand sewing is not that great. So if I can get a thread that matches real close, then it really covers up a lot of my poor sewing skills. I've got the thread that I use down here. I don't do a lot of sewing down here. It's pretty basic stuff, so all I have is black, white, cream, and a couple colors. The rest of my thread's all upstairs with my better sewing, my more modern sewing machine that I use. And I've got this basket that I have all my bias tape and bias tape fold over stuff to make your edges fancy. I use it on craft projects. It's really handy to have, and it's expensive to replace, so I did keep it. So when I make aprons or whatever, I don't do a lot of sewing, but that's kind of a nice collection. I've got zippers, hooks and eyes, elastics, you know, your constructive materials here. There's a little interfacing here. It's kind of weird size scraps, but that's great if you need to give stability to something like a wallet or a purse or whatever you're making. And then I've got some Presto felt. I didn't have enough room up top, and I didn't want to fold it because it's a self-adhesive backing. And I thought this would be really fun for some scrapbooking projects to die cut or some kids crafts because it's just peel and stick. And I set them down there so I wouldn't ruin it by folding it in half. So that's what's in there. That's much better before I took it out. And then the bottom shelf, I actually have lots of space in the bottom one. I've got just some like chalks. Yeah, I guess you could mark for like marking fabric and whatnot. And there was a little EK Success chalk combo kit out for one of my kids, and they didn't want it, so I took it. I might get rid of it, but it is kind of a cute little kit. I've got some tassels, just some cream colored tassels. They were left over from some paper mart projects, but I thought they were really pretty, and I might make some drapes and use these because I thought they were lovely. And I did save 2 pin cushions that I'd made with like kind of quilter's pins and stick pins on them. I did get rid of some of the homemade stick pins I made because I just never used them that much. And this, I was going to put these in a bag, but actually the shape of this dessert dish is perfect for fishing through and finding the colored bobbin that I need, and then I'll use some of these plain bobbins for like jewelry projects too. But it just was stable, and it made it easier for me to see all the colors of bobbins, and if I threw it in a bag, then I wouldn't be able to find what I wanted, and if I put it in a pencil box, then it would take up more space. So I decided to do that, just leave it the way it was. So there, this was full. This thing was chock-a-block full, and I had a huge tote, and between consolidating and getting rid of stuff, I'm just into that cabinet now, and I have a little room for a few extra things if I decide to get other things. So yay! Okay, I'm feeling encouraged by the fabric progress, and I already found somebody that would take all my felt scraps, a local preschool teacher, so I'm really feeling good about that. And now I'm going to tackle paper. I'm at least going to start it and see how far I get tonight. It's about 8 o'clock Monday night, so I got a couple hours in me. I don't know if I'll want to spend them all down here in the cold basement with my paper, but I am going to give it a go. I have a lot of paper. I've got it stashed everywhere, and it's time to weed it out so I can see what I have and, you know, get rid of the stuff I'm not going to use and really cherish the good stuff. Okay, step 1, I took all of the paper off of my shelves, out of nooks and crannies, and I piled it up on my desk and on a few other areas. I measured, and I had about 6 feet of paper. If I were to stack up all these paper pads up on there, like on top of each other, I would have like 6 feet of paper. And I found this really cool storage rack that I got back when I only had all paper that would just fit in one of those storage racks. It's a crop and style paper, 12 by 12 paper sorter. That was full. I used to take apart the, value pack cardstock things and divide them up by color. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick out the sheets that I like out of the loose paper, and I am going to look through some of the pads, pick out the sheets I like from the pads, and then I'm going to box up the stuff I don't want to give away. I do have some, I saved the boxes from my storage units, and they're like 14 by 14 all like put together, so that will be perfect for putting extra paper in. Actually, I can hold up one of those boxes so you can see. I saved these boxes here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm gonna put paper into those. I've got 2 down here. I can go and get more that I have in storage, and I bet somebody would be thrilled to get some scrapbook paper that somebody else has grown tired of, namely me. So I'm going to start going through it. 6 feet is what I have now. I'm going to see what I can reduce it to. I think I'm going to call it a night. I've gotten about 1 foot of paper there to give away. That's really nice paper. It's just, you know, a lot of stacks that I've used up. You know, there's 3 of every sheet, and I've used up everything I like, and I'm just kind of tired of it. I've had it for years and years and years. I did save maybe like an inch of paper from that I'm going to keep, and I emptied that out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that storage container. I'm going to think about that, and then I'll just tackle the rest of this paper sometime tomorrow. This is going to be a snow day. We're going to get a huge blizzard, so there'll be some time for some sorting. So good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day, and there you can see approximately 2 feet of paper that I've discarded. I'll probably stack that up on my pool table and invite my girlfriends to come over and take what they want. The paper's all great, and I would never have been able to take out each pad, look at it, and decide to keep it or get rid of it, because it wasn't until I had everything piled up, basically to the ceiling on my desk there, that I could decide what I really needed to keep and what I could do without, because I still have a lot. We're going to go over here and look at my paper racks. I have every slot full. Now that scrapbook there, that's my daughter's Girl Scout troop scrapbook, so I just kind of thought, I've been really bad about it. I haven't had any new photos recently, but I put the photos in there, and I'll probably give that to the leader when, probably this year, because the girls they're going to go into 8th grade next year, so I don't know if she's going to do it beyond that. But I was able to really go through all of my paper. I really touched every sheet of paper in these pads, which sounds insane, but I wanted to flip through them and make sure that they were things that were going to get used. So this first row here is all either solids, tone on tone, or metallics, but pretty much solid color metallic, solid color glitter, that sort of thing. I also still have this cardstock chest. It's a record. I should zoom out a little bit, I guess. That's a record cabinet that's full of cardstock, which I do intend to go through because I've gotten a little bit, I don't say pickier, but I've got better quality stuff now than when I began, and I've also taken in a lot of things, and a lot of the paper was really lightweight, so I think I'll go through that too. And I did pull out some paper that was corrugated, cardboard colored. It was kind of neat and textural, and I have a paper crimper. I don't need to keep that, so I put that in the tote with the felt for the preschool teacher, because I know the kids would have a ball with that, and also some metallic poster paper, so I didn't put that in the stack over there. I just put it right out into the tote. And then I have vacation type themed scrapbooking papers, and then I have vintage scrapbooking papers, and I went through all of my single sheets and I divided them up by how I would use them. If I just had a sheet or two that went with another collection, I just tucked it right in with that pad or something. Not even a collection that was meant to go together. If I thought it looked cool, I would just put it with those. I love the King Company licensed Boy Scout and Girl Scout papers. I don't know if they make them anymore, but whenever I find paper that goes with that, I keep it together. And so I did that. Down here, I've got kind of slot that's all kind of girl themed papers. Don't give me a hard time me calling something girl themed or boy themed, but that's how I would scrapbook with it. And then a bunch of things that's more boy themed, or more things that my son is interested in that I would scrapbook or make cards with. So I have more than I thought, but I was actually pulling papers from up here, and those, that slot there had papers in it, the one above had papers in it. I actually had paper on top of everything, and I had paper down there. Now the paper that was down there was it was a really generous gift, and I got 20, oh gosh, excuse my messy room. I'm decluttering, so you understand. So these are all packs of paper, and there's 25 sheets of the same pattern in each one. And I decided that I wanted to keep them, but I'm gonna design a class to do with them, I think. That way, everybody can have the exact same supplies, and we can do a mini book or something like that. And then that's how I'm gonna use that. The papers are gorgeous. The quality of them is really good because they're thick and double-sided, but there's no way one person would use that much of any one design, so that's what I'm going to do with that. I feel really good about what I did destash. I know some people are upset when they see people getting rid of things, but I obviously have plenty, and there's no need to hang on to things that I have no way of ever using. I mean, some of these pads of paper I got when I first began. I mean, that's 15 years ago, and I've used so much of it, and there's huge gaps between the sheets. So it'll go on and bless somebody else. I didn't keep anything that was ratty or horrible looking or anything. So I know that someone will definitely use it. So my table is cleared off. I'll probably do cardstock next, since I've been in the line of paper and stuff. I don't think I'll get rid of much. So, I mean, I'm not going to get rid of cardstock that I'll use. So that's not going to be very exciting. I'm not sure what category I'll do next, but I will keep you informed. Bye till next time. Okay, after I finished up the pattern paper last night, I decided to continue on and do my colored cardstock cabinet. And I showed you the before earlier on in the video, and what I did was I took out every color. Actually, I took everything out. I went through them all, took out any really thin, just barely cardstock, almost like a printed solid pattern paper. I had some of those in there too. Got rid of all of those, put them in the giveaway pile, and then I sorted them by color, and then I took color families and I put them together in these job ticket holders, and I totally got this idea from Jennifer McGuire. If you don't know who she is, she's a very talented card maker on YouTube, and she has wonderful ideas for organizing. She is kind of the level we all aspire to. My room is never going to look like hers, but I love that tip. And then I ran out though before I got to do my purples, so what I did was I just took some page protectors to organize those. And the reason, and I'll probably just get another package of job ticket holders next time I'm like ordering on Amazon, but the reason I like them is that they'll hold probably like 25 to 50 sheets. I mean, they're pretty sturdy, and they've got the seam on the outside, so if I accidentally go like that and don't get it in just right, I'm not going to damage the paper. It's going to bang that seam, so it's going to keep my cardstock easier to maintain, and it's also going to make them last longer. And then if I know I want like a melony orange, I can grab my envelopes with the melony colors in it. If I need like a Pepto-Bismol pink, I can grab my cool pinks. I have them like kind of arranged a rainbow order, and I have colors that kind of lean the same way in the same little pocket, so that's going to really help me be organized. I ended up having and I got these job ticket holders like, I don't know, 6 months ago, thinking I was going to do this, but this was so chock-a-block full that I couldn't, because it's like, well, I can't put these in there and then put them in there because they're not going to fit. It didn't occur to me to just get rid of some crap, but I did. Now I actually ended up with 2 bays that were empty, so I put an extra 2 packs of heavyweight cardstock for bases, card bases down there, the Recollections 110 pound, so I have a black and a white there. I already have a white and a cream Recollections pack open in my bigger like neutral cardstock containers up there, and I just keep those all up there because they're the heavier weight whites and creams and craft colors that I use for card bases, and also my coloring cardstock. So that keeps that all organized. I did get rid of probably about 3 inches of paper from this area, and this right here, there's like, I had so much of these 2 colors. They must have come in multi-packs or something, because I put a good chunk of these colors back. So I'm either going to give this away, or I'm going to take all the like light minty blue color and use them in my Christmas cards this year. I'm not sure which, but it's amazing. Like if you buy a lot of those multi-pack things, how many duplicates you get. When I was going through this last night, I had my space heater on. I was sitting down here. I fanned through all the papers. I think it was really good also to get the papers out, air them out, get them all dried off, because while I was sorting them, it took me probably 20 minutes per color to sort easily, or more, so they got nice and crispy and dry, and not that they were humid, but they felt very cool to the touch when I pulled them out, so I felt like it aired them out, and my paper's happy. Much happier now. So there's a cardstock, and I think I'm going to do embellishments next. Well, friends, I thought the ribbon was going to be my Waterloo, but I think it's embellishments. This basket is filled with these little containers that I have magnets on. I just stick those to my filing cabinet, and they have various embellishments. And I'm probably forgetting something here. Oh my gosh. The more I look, the more I find, the more scared I become. So this iris cart that's underneath my table, I have all of the drawers just about, except for one, which is embossing powders, which we'll deal with later, has embellishments in it. I've got metal hardware things and Christmas embellishments kind of all together there. I have a lot of homemade embellishments, a lot of ones made with like friendly plastic, and this whole little handmade spinner here, I made it to fit those little white plastic containers. There are probably 48 containers full of handmade clay and friendly plastic embellishments. I have brads and die cuts and all sorts of interesting goodies, fancy staples. And yeah, it's quite overwhelming actually. I've got this drawer which has a variety of scrapbooking embellishments and embellishments that I might use for jewelry, so I need to kind of go through there and decide. And I think I even have some more handmade resin embellishments, but I think those would be more for like jewelry. So I'm just going to start sorting through and putting like with like and seeing what kind of oh my gosh, what kind of mess I have. Oh, the bottle caps. Oh, and I have another big container of bottle caps too under my desk. So, oh, I've got my work cut out for me. Wish me luck, guys. Okay, wrapping up the embellishment area, this has been the hardest category so far. So many little things. And you have to touch everything and see if you want to keep it or if you want to discard it. But I do definitely think you should focus on what you're keeping, not what you're getting rid of. But anyway, so my filing cabinet had all of these little containers with magnets on them. They're very useful, super great organization, and they were free because they came from my uncle. When he worked at the mill, he would send these containers. I guess tape used to come in them, and I just E6000 a magnet on the back. Works great. So I emptied all but about 5 of these, and the only thing I kept in any of these were googly eyes and other like rhinestones that I would use in kids crafts only, and those are great because I can just grab those containers and take them to a class. All the sequins I came across in my travels I put in this bin, which is where I had all my other sequins, so they're all together now, which makes perfect sense. I was able to get rid of this. This is all of the little embellishments that I took out of my stash. They're all there. So it felt good to be able to get rid of that much stuff that I knew I wasn't going to use. I don't feel badly about it, and I know that somebody else will use them. There's some really cool things in here. It's just, I'm done baby scrapbooking. I'm never going to use that. There's some really awesome embellishments. I have so many eyelet setters. I have the Crocodile and the Crocodile Big Bite. I really don't need this, and it's brand new, and someone probably could really use that. And there's, you know, there's other really awesome things that I'm just never going to use. So it's good to pass them on. These were full of just like almost like handmade embellishments that I had made that I just never finished. Like there were some a lot of resin and clay pieces in there, and I put everything I was going to make into jewelry into one drawer, and everything else just either was discarded or sorted to where it should appropriately be. So there's 4 of those that are free now, which is great because these are really awesome little drawers. They're from Crop and Style. I don't think they make them anymore, but they're really wonderful. And then this right here is a homemade storage solution, and I made it with the boxes that these tape containers came in, and it would hold like 48 little containers worth of goodies. And so and there was a lot of my homemade clay things. So some things I kept, like things if I bothered painting them and finishing them and they looked good and I could use them on a layout, then I kept them. If they were unfinished, I decided to put them in a bag, and either I'll give them to a preschool, or maybe I'll use them in a class with kids. I don't know. I'm really ready to let those things go, and I'll probably let this storage thing go if anybody wants it. I do have extra little containers that can go in there. So I want to show you where I stored everything that I decided to keep. So first, I think I'll just show you over here by my cutter. I've had this little container from, I think it was from Harbor Freight. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can really see. I did put it back though because I'm trying to get the things I'm getting rid of out of my studio and get the rest kind of back to normal, because it just, having my studio all torn apart really bothers me. So like game pieces, I love using game pieces on cards. I know it's silly, I mean they're not worth anything, but these little airplanes and little poker chips, I don't know, I like miniature playing cards. For some reason I like them, they spark joy. I kept them. I have crocheted flowers that I made, I have brads that I've decorated, and then I just have like random like buckles, clothespins. Holy cow, I never need to buy another mini wooden clothespin. This is insane. I must like pick up a package anytime I see them because they're so cute. I just can't help myself. So these are all like card making embellishments. I have baby stuff all together in one thing because I don't do that many baby cards anymore, and I'm all scrapbooked up to date with my kids, so I don't need any baby embellishments. But for cards, there they are. I might get rid of some of those baby bottles because they were favors from the Dollar Tree, and I have way too many. Big brads, big ribbon brads that are flowered here, and then I have, you know, just regular buckle brads, and just like super big brads that are really cool for like putting rub-ons on. I'll just pull one out so you can see. They're just these big brads. I like brads. I know they're not everybody's cup of tea, and some people might think they're out of style, but I like them, and if I like them, it doesn't matter. I'll use them. And then I just sorted like all my silver hardware into one thing. Like there, you might recognize some of those Making Memories tiles. I think they're fun. I don't think they're really out of style. I think they're still cute. And anything that's like a warm metal, like a gold or a copper, I have in here. And I like to kind of rummage through things and find, I know I need like a warm metal, I'll just rummage through until I find the right thing, and it's going to be a lot quicker than going through a bunch of different things. So everything there is an embellishment except for one. I had one leftover thing, and I like to keep band-aids in here because I'm always like getting a paper cut or cutting myself on a tool or wire or something. So I'll probably throw a chapstick in there too, because I used to keep chapstick in there, but my chapsticks are really kind of old and rancid. I know that's gross, isn't it? But you know how they just get old and kind of ugh. So I got rid of those. I'll get one from upstairs. And then, oh, the other way I'm storing things, so I pretty much keep everything, sorry about jiggling there, in like this iris cart. My girlfriend Kathy got me that for my birthday one year, and it was just so thoughtful and wonderful, and it's something I use all the time. And these all had covers on them, but I decided to remove the covers after I first got them because I like easy access to things. And I took all of the clay things that I saved and I put them in here. And then, because it's got a clear top and I can see it and I can just grab what I want, and I like these, but I had made way too many that I could ever use, so I gave some away. Things that were in packages that I could see everything clearly, I just kept in there. But all these little pill cases, these all have different shaped brads and eyelets. And those are a supply that I use a lot and I still enjoy, even though a lot of these were made like 10 or 15 years ago. I still like them, and I like to hunt through for a little accent. They seem to work, and it's not like you can go wrong with a little brad. Larger brads and eyelets I have in here, and I did save a few funky buttons like those St. Patrick's Day shamrocks and some other little novelty things. I don't think I'll get a chance to make them for this thing. No, this St. Patrick's Day is going to be long gone by the time I finish this organization thing. I love these fleur-de-lis brads for my Boy Scout layouts. And, you know, this is basically brads and embellishments, mostly brads, but I have this up here because it doesn't fit very well in another drawer, so it just works really well to have it like that. Now this drawer, I've had this for a long time. I keep all my book plates in here, and a small alphabet charms and whatnot, and I did resort a few things and consolidate some things, and then I had a little more space for some of the things that were on the filing cabinet and those little plastic things with magnets. I took all of my, these are really neat. These are like stick-on rhinestones and pearls and stuff, and I just took them all and slid them in this little clear envelope so that I could just take the whole thing out at once and they're not sliding everywhere. This was something I almost got rid of, but I really thought these were cute and I enjoyed them. They're just these little clips, a little tool to clip them on like an edge of a photo or something. They're just fun and easy and cute, and I thought I'd at least make a few more things with them before I got rid of them. And these were from Target, from the dollar spot. They had a bunch of hearts, and I've used everything except for these two. I just like them, so I'm keeping them. I will use them. This will go in a winter layout. It's just a wooden sign, and then these cute cobweb doilies from Stampin' Up! That's the backside, but they're black. But I just like them, and I put them in there. I don't have enough Halloween stuff to do like a Halloween drawer or anything, so that works. And then here, this was kind of a fun idea. I really enjoy like the shaped brads and eyelets from Eyelet Outlet, and I pick up some every summer at the stamp show. And so I took the pocket letter dividers, and you could use baseball card dividers, but I like these. These were from Score Pal, and the neat thing is they have a divider on the inside, so you can you can access the pockets from either side instead of just one side, like a traditional baseball card holder. So it's great. If I pull this out, I'm not messing up what's on the back side. And I like this because these are laid out and I can see exactly what I have. So all of my like shaped charms are in here for the most part. I did open up some packages and I do have some mixed over there. All my dragonflies and butterflies are together, but all of these, which I forget about, I like collecting them, but I forget about them, are all right here. And I think that's going to make me use them more because I do like them. I bought them because I like them, and I picked them up and they made me smile, and I definitely want to use them. I have some unfinished resin. Actually, these are friendly plastic pieces, I think, in here, and I didn't get rid of them because I think I would actually finish these and use them for different things. And then I've got these Fascinator staples, which I might get rid of. I'm going to use them a couple times and see if I like them. And if not, I'll get rid of the Fascinator tool and those together because I don't think you can buy the tool anymore. So if I was to get rid of them, it would be very lame to get rid of that without the tool to go with it. And just some other embellishments that don't really have a category, and you know, things that go to other tools that I have that I'm still hanging on to. So that's what's in there. And I just wanted to share that page protector trick because I think, especially if you like to store your things in binders, it would be a very small way to keep things. Now, this is my embossing powder drawer. I'm probably going to leave that pretty much as is. And then, since I ended up emptying a drawer, I put all my glitter and my flocking in here, and the flocking was in a box by itself. I never remembered to use it, and the glitter was in a drawer that was too big, so I do need to go through a little bit more and weed out. This is at the end of the day, and I was really tired actually, and I couldn't really make decisions very well, so I need to weed through that a little bit. But I decided it would be great to have my glitter and embossing powder together, so that freed up room to do that. And then this is just my Christmas drawer, and I didn't know if I was going to keep a Christmas drawer separately, but then I had a bunch of cards already started, things ready to color, and like die cuts already cut out and all this stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I am just going to put anything Christmas related in here. Any little charms I found when I was touching every single flippin' embellishment I owned. I put them all in there when I came across them. So, this will be the Christmas drawer, and I'll use it for Christmas cards and Christmas layouts. So there you have it. There's my how I made out with my embellishments, decluttering. I got rid of quite a bit. You can see the stuff on the table here, the stuff I got rid of. I'm very pleased with how this went, even though it took me a couple days. It's probably been 6 hours with embellishments. It's a little crazy. I'm a little embarrassed to admit how much time I've been spending on this, but I know my room is going to feel so much more efficient, and I'm going to make better art because I'm not going to be weighed down or distracted by the things I don't really love. So I don't know what I'm going to do next, but when I figure it out, I'll see you right back here. Okay, when I kind of downsized my glitter after doing the embellishments, I was very hasty and I just pretty much tossed anything I was absolutely sure I didn't want, but after the embellishments I really just couldn't even make cohesive decisions, so I decided to just get rid of things I knew I didn't want or couldn't use, and I just put everything else in this drawer. So now I need to go through and see what I have duplicates of, see if I can condense anything, and you know, see what I need to get rid of. And I also have a bunch of little shallow baskets and boxes and things like that I can use to divide this up so I don't have little glitter bottles rolling around, because some of them, they're not all the same size and some don't stand up very well. They tip over really easily. And over here I have embossing powder, and again I'm going to go through this, get rid of doubles or consolidate if I have like half full bottles of some colors. Not the metallics. You don't want to do that with metallics because they can tarnish one another and be ruined, but everything else, I'm just going to kind of go through and see what I'm going to use and what I could get rid of. So here's the before. I'm not going to dump it all out right now. I'm going to start with the glitter, and then I'll show you when it's all done. Okay, this is the stuff that I am getting rid of, and I'll give away these duplicates to somebody that might not have them. There were some tinsels. I had like 4 green tinsels, and I kept the different shade ones, and this one I got rid of because, I mean, really, how many green tinsels do you need? How many shades of green do you need? And just some random ones. These duplicates I'm actually taking to my office because I can, I have a black detail embossing powder up there, so now I'll have a gold, white, and a silver, and then I've got a thicker clear embossing powder. I have 3 other full things of the thick clear embossing powder in my drawer, and I do use it quite a bit, and I like to have it, but I really, you know, I don't want to have 3 different containers in there. So let me show you this drawer. You know what? I think I'm going to actually put this up on the counter. I'm sorry. This is the glitter drawer. This is what oh, there goes my, I'll slide that down there. So this is the glitter drawer, and what I did was I got some baskets to kind of separate things. I originally had like all these glitter bottles standing up on their end so I could see what was inside, and that seemed perfect, except, I mean, seriously, it was like 1/8 of an inch too tall to slide through. It kept catching and flipping over in my drawers and stuff, so I had to lay things down. So I will have to kind of like peek through a little bit, but it's better than I just had all these chucked in like probably a 6-inch deep drawer that was, you can't see how far my hands apart, but it was about 6 inches tall over with my paper and stuff. So this is much better. I took this tray, this is like just a silverware drawer organizer, and put all my like tubes of glitter in there. I actually didn't have a lot of duplicate colors. I thought I would have tons of duplicate colors, but I really didn't. I also have my micro beads and flocking in here. So this box here, I put all my flocking. I did get rid of a couple duplicate colors that I had because I bought a bunch of stuff from a stamp store owner, former stamp store owner, so there was a lot of duplicates there. So all my flocking's in there, and then also my real glass glitter, I put those in there too. I have a space-saving thing. So these are little like vials of glitter, right? I have a bunch of these, and also a bunch that microbeads came in. The glitter, I really wanted to have them to have their own cap because I could just foresee glitter flying everywhere if I tried to just take one cap off. But for the microbeads, I mean, you lose a couple anytime you open the jar anyway. I took all the lids off And there you can see them there. I'm just going to get rid of them. I took all the lids off and they screw one to the other. The glitter would do that too, but I'm just afraid that I might make a mess with them. So I just did it to the microbeads. I think they look really pretty like that too, and it's easy to take them apart and get what I want. And it's not like I use microbeads as much as glitter either, so that's not that big of a deal. And if I empty a couple other containers, I'll put those microbeads in containers. These are different colors than what I have as well otherwise. And I had 2 bags of these for some reason, so I gave one of those away. And this is just some super fine glitter for some techniques that I learned at the stamp show. And that's pretty much my glitter drawer, and it slides right in. So I'm going to pause it and get my embossing out. And here it is. This is not as exciting, but again, I took one little basket and I put all of my iridescent embossing powders that were either white or clear, but had different colored iridescent. Like one has blue iridescence, one is peacock, one is just clear, one is holograph. So there's these different, and one is more pearl, which is probably not as much of an iridescent, just as like a shimmer. So I put them all together. So and I wrote on their caps, or I put them upright so I could see the caps, because I had them all flipped upside down and I couldn't tell what was white, what was. I could tell which ones were kind of shimmery, but I didn't know if it was just a bridal or if it had some holograph qualities to it. So so that way I can see what each one of these are. Also, I had a white puffy embossing powder, and I didn't know. I just thought it was just a regular white or clear because I had it upside down. So the ones that are white or clear, I flip up so I can see the label, except for these really big ones that are all thick, ultra thick embossing enamel. I know what that is. I go through it. And I got a couple on sale, like they were clearanced at AC Moore, so I just grabbed them. And this heat and stick powder, I have this upright because I can read the label. Everything else though is upside down, and I dusted all the lids. I don't know how they got dusty in the drawer, but they did. So I dusted them all so I could see in there. I could see, like, I have a couple different shades of red tinsel, then I've got a couple different shades of opaque red. I love these little embossing powders, and I recommend that if you're looking to get into embossing and you don't want to spend a lot of money, they have these sets, and there's like 12 colors, and they'll be like, I think there's 12. Anyway, you get like half are like metallic and half are solid, or half are opaque and half are pearlized. So you get this great variety. And they're by Stampedist, I believe, at Joann's, like in store. And I think they were $24 a container, like a package. And I used a coupon on each of them. Back when I was starting out, and so that worked out really well. So basically I could see everything I have. I removed duplicates to give away, and I didn't get rid of much, but everything is much more organized, and I can tell the difference basically between all my clears and whites, which I couldn't before, and that was a problem. Now I know a lot of people like to put them in Tupperware containers and kind of just scoop with a little spoon. I do keep little spoons in here for that. I have done the Tupperware container things with clear and white before, but I don't emboss enough to really justify keeping out a Tupperware container. And I really am a big believer in keeping these tightly capped in their original containers, because I think it keeps the moisture out, and I think that's what kills embossing powder, because sometimes they go bad. So now I always have to make a note that if I do try something and it's gone bad, then I'm just going to chuck it, because I did buy a lot of these at yard sales, so there's a chance that some of these could have gone off. I really haven't had any issues with these, so if I do find one that's bad, I'm just going to chuck it and not feel bad about it. So there is embossing powder and glitter. I hope you found this helpful. Okay, I had a little dinner, and I decided I wanted to just do some more smaller categories, because I want a few quick wins. So this was filled with string twine, and I had quite a variety of different strings and twines in here, and it was chock full, and it was kind of a mess, and I didn't use a bunch of the things that were in here. So I'm going to show you what I'm getting rid of first. I was watching my girl Renee Christine on my YouTube. I was watching her. Anyway, so I have a bunch of skeins of crochet cotton. I have a couple in my yarn stash. Actually, I know I have one that's just the perfect width for doing my crocheted flowers that I can dye. Honestly, they're not that expensive. When I use that up, I can go and buy another one. Those are actually a little thinner than what I like. I think they're number 10, and I like the number 3. And I got these at a yard. I think I bought one, and the rest I got at a yard sale. I got a big thing of just plain baker's twine, but I never use it. I got some black crochet cotton and this blue string, and then I had like 3 of these. So 2 were open, 1 wasn't. So I figured I'd pass along the one that's not open, because that'll be nicer for somebody to get, something that's fresh and new. And then here in the cigar box, I totally forgot about this. Before I did work for Paper Mart, I had purchased some baker's twine, I think on Etsy or something, and it was nice and all, but, and that's what or on these pins here, but I don't like it as much as the stuff I've got from Paper Mart, and since I got the stuff from Paper Mart, I haven't used this. And then before, and these are some of the Paper Mart ones that I just wound on bobbins, but I have the spools, so I really don't need those. And I actually made my own baker's twine just by taking like crochet cotton, like that crochet cotton over there, just crochet cotton, and wrapping it around a ruler and drawing stripes on it. And so I got that striped string, and that tutorial came from UK Marianne on YouTube and on WordPress. So that was a really fun tutorial, and I had a great time making that, and I used it on cards, and it was a lot of fun. But I haven't touched it since I've got the store-bought baker's twine, so clearly so I'll show you how I have it stored. So clearly, this is my store-bought baker's tool. Actually, it was part of, you know, stuff I used for videos for Paper Mart, but I really love this. I love keeping it in here. I always know where to find it, where to reach for it. This is going back on my shelf where it was, because I just always know to reach for it there. I love that. I really don't need that. So that can go on and bless someone else. And same thing with all those other twines. So now what I'll do is I will just fill up this thing here with the string that I'm going to keep, and I'm going to try to stay out of the shot because I have a really super fluffy Cookie Monster robe on right now, so I really don't want to be seen in that. It's not flattering in the least, but it's warm because it's chilly down here. So it's rainbow twine. It is crochet cotton. I really enjoy using it. Some inexpensive twine. I really just like using that stuff. Brand new thing of inexpensive twine. I'll get it at different places. I mean, I pay like 99 cents for it, but I just like the different natural feels to it. Now for braiding cords, which I actually like these for using with buttons when I'm card making, because I don't have to thread a needle to use these to tie on a button. That's what I use these for. I put them in here. And here I actually have a few fluffy fibers I just stuck in there that I probably wouldn't use it to, well, I could use it to thread a button. I think it's stiff enough for that. But anyways, that's kind of card making is what I'd use that for. And this is a mess, but I just pull out a piece and I just cut some off and use it to string buttons. It looks like a nest, doesn't it? And there's a few cuts in here because it's been tangled up so many times that I pull some out and I cut from it. Doesn't bother me. It's still perfectly good. And for what I don't use it for like macrame or anything where I need really long pieces. I just use it for that and it works great. I also have some gold crochet cotton, which is again really fun for different projects or gift wrapping or whatnot. And then instead of keeping the bigger spools, I had two big spools of baker's twine, this like plain. These are actually some spools of bustle thread. And it's kind of nice because it doesn't really fray too much. I don't know, it's almost like a knit cord. And I can't even remember where this came from. But anyway, it's great. They're just small spools of it that is a usable amount. I mean, having something like this, that's way too much for me to use, and a lot of those things were gifts or yard sale finds, so it's not like I even really thought much about them when I picked them up. Now, back there, I'm going to zoom in there. I'm going to zoom in so you don't see me when I reach around. I got some macrame cord. This might go. This is my undecided pile. These two might go because I have satin cord that I prefer. Oh, and I'll show you that. I might as well put that all together. Hold on. I'm going to pause it. Okay, I'm back. So I have this satin cord, and actually this gives me a great idea. I'm just going to keep it all together because like with like makes sense, right? So these are some braiding loom things, templates, so you can make pretty braided bracelets. So yeah, it makes sense for me to keep this all together. There's my instructions for that. I'm just going to chuck that in the bin. So I got some really pretty satin cords, and I really enjoy working with this, and I don't really enjoy working with macrame cord. And it's not like I'm making macrame stuff. This stuff is by Paper Mart. It's the, is it 2mm rat tail cord? And it's just really great for jewelry making and the bracelet weaving or doing like Shambhala bracelets. I know I said that wrong. But I got some basic colors that I really enjoy. And then I've also got some stretch cord for bracelets. Might as well put this in here along with the this jewelry chain. I mean, it makes sense, I think, to keep these together. So they can all go in here, and that frees up a box on my table as a benefit. And then, oh, look at this. I forgot I had these little clips for, like, if you want to make your own clip it up. I don't know if I'll do that, but there they are. Oh, I got a Mockingjay keychain. It was like given away at a movie theater or something. I don't know why I kept it. And then I've got these little clips that I use to, when I'm making like braided bracelets. These are just from the Dollar Tree, but they're fantastic for like, whoops, dropped one. I'll like clip it. I'll clip the start of my braid on a clipboard, and then I'll use these to like clip the ends of the cords like down to the ends of the clipboard, so that I've done a Shambhala bracelet tutorial, and these just hold them nice and tight because they're kind of rubbery. But anyway, these, I'm not sure if those will go in there or with some jewelry tools because I don't want to lose them. But there is twine. I think, you know, I'm really thinking I'm going to get rid of all of this. I haven't had some clothesline rope. I might see if my husband wants this for anything before I pass it on. But yeah, it feels good to get rid of that because this was a big scary drawer and I was kind of afraid to open it up. Now I've got all kinds of extra space in there. Can you see in there? I don't know. Can you? And it's much more organized. So that's great. I might even put another little box in there or something to keep my chain and the stretchy cord separate, or I might put that in a little baggie so it doesn't unravel, but that's pretty much how that's going to be, and that goes in one of the cubbies that supports my craft desk here on the end. So you may be on your Konmari journey and thinking, well, what if everything I have sparks joy? Well, then you keep it. This is my travel watercolor palette collection, and I picked each one up and I held it and I opened it and I looked at it and I got little sparks of joy when I did that. Some palettes gave me more of a thrill than others, but I really liked all of these. The only one that I might take out of my personal collection is this one right here, because this actually, I really like the paint. Just this is kind of cumbersome to store, so I think I might use this in my kids class. Basically what it is it's an ice cube tray. I had some tubes of Yarka watercolor, and they don't make them anymore. They were student watercolor they had in tubes, and I'd done paintings with these actually that have hung in the wall that have not faded for 15 years in a fairly sunny room. So I know that they're pretty decent, even though I don't have exact pigment information or anything on them. They're beautiful paints, but I just don't like how cumbersome this is. I kind of made my own lid with a piece of laminated swatch that I made. So I might use this in kids' classes because it's nice to let them use a nice quality paint. And the reason I had to put them in here was that I had bought the set probably 4 or 5 times because I would use it up and I'd go buy the set again. Then I'd have somewhere I have more colors, more leftovers of something. But anyway, the tubes had sealed shut and some had hardened in the inside of the tube, so I had to cut the tubes open to get the paint out. So I couldn't put them into a traditional palette, so I put them in this ice cube tray. And so that's where they are. So I will probably put that over into my teaching supply stuff, but I'm keeping all of these palettes. I love them. They give me a thrill when I pick them up. They make me giddy when I look at the colors and when I think of, oh, when I bought this and when it arrived in the mail and how happy I was and the paintings I did with them. So of course I'm going to keep it, especially since there's certain palettes I like to use for certain things. So, and I might actually, this is the Neo colors from Kusakabe, and I think I need to give these another try, actually. Some of the pigments were the pigment numbers were a little dodgy on them, but they were still pretty fun to paint with, and they didn't crack and fall out of the palette, which I was pretty sure they would, but they didn't. So I might play with those a little bit more. I really like the palettes. Maybe I'll just use those up, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll let the kids use them. I don't know. I like this palette too. It's a Mission Gold insert. They sent me this with some Mission Gold paints, but the paints I had were in pans, so this was kind of cool. So I'm not going to go through every palette, but you can see the vastness of my collection, and you know, I enjoy them all and I'm keeping them all. So just to let you know that is completely okay to do. Hey, I just wanted to check in. I've been just picking away at like the oddball, like I have many bins that just contain odd things, and in one of these, in my adhesive bin of all places, I found this treasure. This was it's like a price gun. Around the Block came out with this, with all these pretty little spools of like tape, like sticker stuff that you could put in there, and you could stamp little labels that said, you know, happy birthday, or there's all these different things you could stamp, but it never really worked that great, and I wanted it so bad. It was like $40. I didn't buy it when it was new, but I found it. I got it in a grab bag by Around the Block, and I was so excited to get it. But I never was really happy with how it printed, because I thought, well, maybe I'll use it as a label gun in my shop. And the more I thought about it, the more it's been kicking around here for like 10 years, and I am passing it on with all of the inks and all of the labels, because I have that all, and hopefully somebody else will get some use out of it. So that's something I found that I'm finally able to let go of, because I've never liked anything I've made with it. So why keep it? Because it was expensive and I can't get it anymore? That's foolish. There's plenty of inks and labels in there for somebody else to do some work. So another thing that I found tonight I'm going through my purple drawers. I moved things around a little bit. I put them up there, and then I moved, I'll pan around here. I've moved a lot of things actually. I've moved drawing paper up vertically because it's so much easier to pull out some drawing paper that way than to pull out a few sheets when it's like got stuff piled on it and it's horizontal, because then you pull out all this extra stuff and it's just very annoying. So those purple shelves were there, and I just stacked them all up in one tall shelf and moved them over there. So now I have more space there. I took any wooden easels and paint boxes that I had and put them on that shelf, and I might move those gallons of Mod Podge and put a couple other ones there that are my kids. Just depends on what they want to do with their kind of art area, storage area. And then I just kind of went through the bins here and just neatened things up and got rid of some excess. It wasn't very exciting, so I didn't film it. But the one thing I do want to show you is my drawing drawer. And I didn't really get rid of much. I consolidated some vine charcoal into one container, and just basically I'm consolidating things. I actually did not know I had a pencil extender, so I'm really excited. That's going to go in my colored pencil box upstairs. But I have my Conte crayons, I've got pencils in kits right here, but then all my other loose drawing pencils are here. And the reason I like this all together in one drawer is because when I go to teach a drawing class, I just take that whole drawer with me. So, you know, if you were just, you know, doing your own craft room and you didn't teach classes, you wouldn't need to keep that much stuff. But since I draw, and I might have, you know, I might have 5 kids in a class, I might have 25 kids in a class, I don't know, it's drop in, so I have enough supplies to handle everyone. But the reason I showed you these boxes is that these are very precious Winsor Newton drawing inks, and I've had these for a long time, set of 8, and the boxes are so stinking cute that I could not bear to open this kit of inks and use them because the boxes are so cute and the little containers are so cute, and I had to keep it pristine because it was so precious to look at. But I decided that this is ridiculous. If I'm not using them, they're not precious. Yes, these are adorable. These are cute. I'm throwing these away because I'm going to actually use the ink, which I have up there on that ledge. I haven't figured out where I'm going to put it yet because it's too tall to put in the drawers and have them open and shut. I might put them in that top. I don't think I want to put them in the top of that because I can't see down into that. That's going to be tall stuff. But I'll find some place to put it. Probably with my Dr. P.H. Martin inks, which are another precious item that don't get enough use. So I just wanted to pop in and just kind of give you the lowdown, what I've been working on. Nothing too exciting. Oh, I did do something else. I should have turned on my light over there. But I took just a box, look at fancy, and I took all my Lawn Fawn and Simon Says stamp inks and just slid them in that box. They fit perfectly, and just put a little label on the side and smudged some ink on it so I could see what I had, because otherwise I couldn't. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about ink. Ink is going to be another situation. I might keep it all. I actually use a lot of it. You never know what you're going to need for a project. You kind of need the variety, so we'll get back to you on that, and we'll see you when I'm ready to share something else. Bye! Okay, I didn't get down here at all yesterday, but I kind of came back down today with a vengeance, and what I did was I went through my my alphabet and sentiment stamps, the wood-mounted ones. So I was just kind of thinking, because that purple shelf up there, I pretty much had everything I need in 3 drawers, and then I had these, just everything else was empty. So I was like, well, maybe that's not a great storage thing for me. But those drawers were meant for storing stamps. So what I did was I had about 8 clear plastic drawers stacked up here, 4 and 4, mounted over with sentiment stamps, and I hadn't been using them lately. So those are the trays I'm telling you about. I also had a cookie tin that was mounted over. So then what I did was I went through and I basically, you know, put my hands on every stamp, figured out which ones sparked joy, which ones I would use. When you see like all your thank you stamps together, you kind of prioritize. You're kind of like, okay, I have 20, I use these 5, do I need the others? And so that's kind of what I did. I put thank yous in one bucket. I put alphabets, small alphabets in one. I put happy birthdays in one. I put all my faux postage and tiny little scenery stamps in one, just because I'm afraid to put them on my big shelf. I'm afraid I'm going to lose them because some of them are so tall and they all go together, so I want to keep them together. And then some other like alphabets in here. And then I had one drawer left, and I thought, well, why don't I just put my stamping blocks in here? I figured I wouldn't be able to fit them all in there because I had that box right there just plumb full, and they were sticking out the top. I mean, it was packed. But once I laid them all down in there, it's really easy to see them. They need a good washing, but I can easily find the size that I want. I know you're probably thinking, why do you keep so many? But I like to have several projects going at a time, so it's nice that I can leave the stamps on the blocks and not have to take them off every time I need a new stamp. So that's why I keep so many. Maybe I'll reduce, I don't know. So then what I'm getting rid of, I also went through my bins with my foam stamps, and this is what I'm getting rid of here. This is a wood-mounted alphabet stamp set, which I hardly ever use. So I'm going to give that and this foam set to my local preschool teacher, who I'm giving some felt scraps to. I haven't gotten them packed up and out yet. I found this unmounted stamp set, which is very similar to a couple mounted stamp sets that I have. It's just kind of like the letters or the insides of these blocks of leaves. I have this baby kind of block alphabet I hand carved that, I mean, I used when my kids were babies. I haven't used since. I have this set here, which I think would be really fun for somebody who doesn't have a lot of alphabet stamps, because they're all organized. I almost didn't get rid of these because it's like, well, they're not taking up very much space and they're so cute in their little package, but I've got enough, and I've got ones I like so much more than that, so I'm probably not going to use those when I have better ones, so I'm getting rid of those. I actually might keep these. I like these, but I just don't have a good place to keep them. I do have a bigger set that's the same font that I like a lot, but these are nice too, so I might actually grab these back if I find a place to keep them. I got rid of 4 wheel stamps that I wasn't really crazy about, and I actually took all my Christmas wheels off of my the thing that I made. It's an old calendar frame with nails banged through the back. I took all my Christmas ones off so that I could have all my non-Christmas ones up there. I have a lot of those, but they're hard to find now. And I'm giving away all these sentiments because they just weren't my favorite. I have better ones, and I want to use the better ones. And so all those drawers are going to slide right into that unit right there, and they'll be right behind me where I'm going to stamp, because I'm moving so that I stand on this side of my desk now, and that will be great. So I think I'm going to do pens or maybe some other stamps next. I'm not sure. I'll let you know when I decide. Hey, I am really happy because I just finished my stamps and stamp binders, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I went through all my binders and pulled out the sets that didn't spark joy. And like, as I was starting to look through, I also I have like 4 binders of nature, and so I took all of like the leaves and put them in one binder and kind of sorted things. Like if I had something that was like a rose, but it was with a bunch of leaves, you know, I just kind of grouped things up a little bit so I could see what I have. And then once I saw everything together, I could weed out the ones that weren't my favorites, because it's like if I want a Christmas tree stamp, for instance, and I have 20, well, I'm going to pick my favorite 5. Those are the ones I'm going to use. Unless I have ones that are different sizes for different projects and stuff, but, you know, I got rid of the ones that I didn't really like that much, because I'm probably not likely to use them anyway. And then what I did, you can see all my stamps are in binders. I'll show you what I got rid of down here on the floor in that shoebox. In that file folders is a bunch of like baseball card sheet protectors. Please excuse my dirty floor. And then I have a bunch of clear stamp sets there and some singles. Oh, and those are the wood-mounted stamps that I got rid of too, not counting like the alphabet ones and sentiments that you already saw. So I wanted some way to unify these binders, because I'm sure you saw it in one of the views of the room earlier. It was just a mishmash. Everything looked different. It was not pretty, but the system works so well. I can always find the stamp I need that I wanted to keep the system. And I didn't want to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on, you know, 30 new binders. So what I did was I took a big map, and it makes me smile when I was putting this project together, it just made me smile, because when my husband and I bought the house, we bought this huge National Geographic map, and we hung it up in our hallway. And then after our kids were born, they were always knocking it down. They'd be running down the hall. So about the time my twins were 2 and my son was 3, we were so afraid they were going to knock it off the wall and then step on a tack, because it had like grommets, and we would tack it to the hallway wall. So we trimmed it down to fit our kitchen table, and then put a piece of clear vinyl over it, so the kids could see the map and see where parts of the world were, and just kind of learn by osmosis. So and that was the other side of the map. But I decided to use this topical side of the map for my decoration, and I basically just cut it up and pasted it on the ends of my binders. But it just makes me smile, because this is something that's always been part of our home, and I was able to repurpose it, and I like the way it looks so much better than a bunch of unkept binders. So my stamp wall, I'm going to pause it and spin around so you don't get sick. My stamp wall here, you've probably seen before in other videos, and I've mentioned so many times how I kick myself that I didn't buy a couple of these, because I got this shelf for $5 from a lady who used to own a rubber stamp store, and she was retiring and was just destashing her own personal collection. And so I bought one of these, and I wish I'd bought 2, but anyway, I was able to weed out quite a few wood stamps, and I really didn't think I was going to get rid of any of my wood-mounted stamps, but as you pull them out into a big pile and you go look through them and you touch every one, you begin to realize that I might have bought this one as a bargain, or this one came in in a set with a bunch of other ones, and I didn't really like this one, and even though I hate to break up a set, I'm never going to use this. So I went through and got a milk crate full of stamps to get rid of, and on some of those shelves there are like ballasts, like that's a staircase ballast, or wooden blocks to kind of raise up a level and back, but I'm trying not to cram it as full as I did before, because they would fall over the back and then fall down to the floor, and then I would never see them again, because it's just like a sheet of plastic on the back there to keep them from falling through. So there's my stamp shelf. It's certainly not minimal by any stretch of the imagination, but it contains the things that I really love. I love having them. I love looking at them. They're part of my collection. Even if I don't use every one on the shelf before I die, I enjoy having them. So that's that. I think the next thing I'm probably going to do is pens, but I'll let you know as soon as I start. Hey, it's been a couple days since I filmed, but I wanted to let you know of my progress. So hopefully in one of the swings around the room, you saw how messy my desk was. So this is the big table in the middle of my room. And there's the stick where I attach my camera, and it films down on my table, and I'd been filming on the other side of my table, but I had this table shoved up a lot closer to those shelves, and that was really claustrophobic, and I didn't realize how badly it was bothering me until I moved it away, and then I really enjoyed it. So I just wanted to kind of show you some progress. I have emptied out a few of the bins. I did organize this, or not really organize it, but I just kind of weeded out the crap. That coffee can is to the top, basically with with bottle caps. Actually, I'll just pull this right out onto my table, and you can see. So this is all bottle caps for like kids crafts. I have a lot. My friend, actually my niece and Sarah and her friend save them for me. Makeup wedges and corks, which I can claim responsibility for the corks. But you know, it's probably like a couple of years worth. And then I've got these Formica chips, which are kind of silly, but I'll use them for like ornaments and stuff around Christmas time in my kids craft classes. So that's all kids craft stuff. And I went through my pens, and I removed a lot of duplicates from my water-based markers because they last a long time. I also took out some ones that weren't my favorites. Like I have quite a few Tombos. I really like those the best. I also really like the Winsor Newton watercolor markers because they're more like a fine art supply. And then I went through and tested all of them to make sure that they worked. And then the ones that were duplicates, I just put in a bag. I'm going to give them to two friends. I probably have, I mean, it was a lot. There's probably like a third of them. I'm giving them away. I've got some chalk markers, which are kind of fun in mixed media because they're like paint over pens almost. And then I've got my microns and pit pens, and my Tim Holtz Distress crayons and my Target gel crayons, because they're kind of fun to use, but I don't feel like I've given them a fair shake, to be honest. So I want to kind of play with them a little bit more. And then I have all my alcohol pens there. I also have a set of, almost a full set of Spectrum Noir pens upstairs that I use in my office. So I really need to go through and see if I have any doubles, because I know I have some of the new styles that replace some of the old ones. So I'm going to take all my doubles out of the alcohol pens and pass them along to my friend Kathy. I think she hasn't really gotten into the alcohol markers, but has been interested. And I cleared out the spinner here. This is a Harbor Freight spinner. I know some people spray paint them pretty colors, but I just left mine black. And I've just got stuff I reach for while I am card making, blending tools. I put stickles in there because I don't use them, but I recently got some from Rubber Stamp Tapestry, and I want to try using them a little bit in a way where I don't smear my hand all over them before they dry. So that's the big challenge. Sponges and stuff for watercolor, pan pastel sponges, and more ink blenders. Probably more ink blenders than I need. I really love the color dusters, and I also have my adhesives close at hand and blending stumps for colored pencils. So that's what I got done. I recovered this with some fresh contact paper, which makes a huge difference, I think. And then underneath, I just kind of I had those two, this shelf and another one just like it stacked up on top of each other, kind of like up against this big behemoth desk thing. This is not staying here, I don't think, but I just kind of shoved it under there just for right now. I didn't know what to do with it. But over here I want to show you this because this is just like the other shelf I just showed you, but I asked my husband to put shelves in between the shelves, and then I had almost all the Dr. Peach Martin's products. These are all their Hydrus watercolors, and they were in their precious packaging, and we know Lindsay and precious packaging. If the packaging is precious, I can't bear to use it because I'm going to mess up the packaging and the products. So I said, this is ridiculous. I got rid of the packaging and I put all the little bottles of ink in there. I was going to do the same thing with the Radiance watercolors. These are very fun because I can re-ink my watercolor markers with them, and I can also use these for fabric dyes. But I tried putting them in a tray like this. This is from the Dollar Tree. They have them currently. I want to get 4 in blue so that I can put them on top of my stamp binders for just kind of like my project in progress bins that are always being I get all the stuff for a project, and I'll usually pull things for a couple projects at once, and then it's just handy. But anyways, I tried this in a tray like this, but I couldn't see what the colors were because they're very, very transparent. I couldn't look down and see what the colors are. These, the pigment watercolors, are a little more opaque. I can tell what they are, especially when it's not like under my table in the dark. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I left these in this packaging because it didn't really waste a lot of space. They're all next to each other, so it's a very smart use of the space in this packaging. So I kept all 5 sets like that. And then on these bottom shelves I have the these are all of their liquid, their acrylic inks. And then I have the calligraphy inks in just a tray like this. This is their metallic pearl calligraphy inks. So I really want to do more with some calligraphy. And I found my fountain pen. I was so excited. I found my fountain pen that I paid like $20 for. I actually thought I bought 2, but I might have damaged one because I'm pretty hard on pens. Don't tell me I lost it again already. But I did find my beautiful fountain pen. Here it is. And I cleaned it out and I reloaded it. It's got a reusable cartridge in there, and I reloaded it, and it's working beautifully. So I'm so excited. I could not find it. I was looking everywhere. It was buried in one of these marker cubbies, which I never would have found it because the end is black and it just looks like a pen. So there's that. Let's see. Underneath here, I cleaned out under here. Hopefully it looks clean. Hopefully it's bright enough. Let me try flipping this. I just have canvas that I use for like my my drop cloths. This is an old air hockey table that, stopped blowing air, and I've used that for just kind of the base with a door on top. I'm so fancy for my table there. And I had that white paper because this is part of the thing. I had so much stuff that wasn't even able to fit in my craft area, and one thing is like this big roll of white craft paper, and so I was able to bring that in. I kept it on a little microphone stand kind of, so I can still it keeps it off the floor in case I was ever to get a flood. And just things on basement floor, it does wick up moisture no matter how dry you keep your basement. If you're on the cement, it can wick up moisture. In behind there I've got just like those you probably can't really see very well, but it's like those mesh bin, the cube bin components that you can zip tie together to make paper storage. And then over here I haven't everything in these I've gone through all of these enough to tell that I'm keeping everything in those bins, but they're all framing and packaging supplies and my one drawer of drawing stuff. And I actually had second thoughts about candle making. I'm gonna say I did offer my candle making supplies to a friend. If she wants them, I'll gladly give them to her, but my crock pot and big huge tub of wax are all back there, and then just a portfolio of some old artwork. So that's pretty much all taken care of. Let's see. Over here I cleared this off, and I was able to pick up my Scan and Cut and set it on that shelf because I went through the bins that were there, and I was able to rehome them up there and make better use of my jewelry storage. And I think that's pretty good. I think I've pretty much shown you what I've done so far. What I'm going to work on next is this right here, which is all of my large sheets of paper and larger paper pads. So I'm going to pause it. I'm going to take everything off that shelf, and then I'll show you what I have at that point. Okay, so first, the best use of that rack is actually to store flat paper. So I have several reams of a Strathmore 400 drawing paper. I mean, hundreds of sheets of paper there. I do use this quite a bit in my children's classes. I bought a huge bulk amount when it was crazy cheap. It was probably 15 years ago. It was back when I had an art studio where I taught classes, and I just have so much still left over. But it's good paper, and my kids still use it for projects, and then I take it in my classes. That's kind of the good paper, not like when I practice on the sulfite paper or newsprint, and then I'll work on the good paper. Then I've got I got packages of kind of a pink, a tan, I believe. Yeah, like a kind of a portrait tan. And, oh, it looks like I have 2 packages of that portrait tan color from Diamond. Then I have Can't Send Me Tints in kind of a light blue. I've got some velour paper. I've got this tan paper that's on its own. I've just got basically random a few sheets of this and that of Can't Send Me Tints and some gray flannel colors. And then I've got some moss and ivy and orange. And then I've got Fabriano Tizzano, I believe is how you pronounce it, paper. I've got hot pink. I've got another ream of Canson Me Tints in like a burgundy. I've got some Fabriano Tizzano in royal blue. And that's it for the big flat sheets. And those fit in the rack perfectly. And I can put quite a stack on each, what do you call it? Rung, I guess? I don't know. Is that what you call it? On each shelf, I guess. Wire, whatever. Then over here, I had a lot of pads on there as well. So I had just got some of this bleeding tissue paper. I got another package actually upstairs in my office, so I want to do some mixed media with that. I had some calligraphy paper, and apparently I love buying calligraphy paper because I just bought another pad of it. Where's the calligraphy that I'm supposed to be doing? I don't know. This is some cheap charcoal paper that I've had for a long time, because look, there's a huge acorn I drew back in 2001. Yeah, probably time to pass that along. I think I'll probably use that in my kids' class. I'm getting stuff ready to take that I can keep at the library where I do the free kids' classes, so I'm kind of sorting stuff like for that too. I've got some black Canson Me Tints paper. I love Canson Me Tints for color pencil and pastel, so that's definitely going to be a keeper, and I'll probably put it over there in that letter sorting rack that's over there behind my mannequin with the apron on it. I think my 9x12 and smaller pads fit really well over there. And then I've got some Saf Matte, which is it's almost like a printable vellum. It's basically to make like transparent labels for things. So I think that's going to go in office supply stuff. And then I've got this big pad of art paper, and it's wonderful stuff. I don't know if it's acid free, but it hasn't yellowed over the years, and it's one of those products that I buy quite a bit of. It's a really nice sturdy textured paper, and it's great for doing pastel. It's also really great for working with children. So then I had a lot of watercolor blocks. I was surprised. This one is new, this Arches one. Those usually don't escape my attention because I love that paper. But I also really like Strathmore 400 series. It almost has that feeling of a mold made paper, but it is a chemical wood pulp paper. But it's really fantastic as far as like a student grade paper. If you can spend a couple extra bucks over just like bottom of the line paper and you get this, you're going to notice a huge difference. I really like this. So it's the brown label versus the Strathmore yellow label. And I have this 6 by 18 sheet landscape pad, which I thought is a fun size. I also have that in a 6x12. That's in my travel wooden paint box. Then I have a block in 9x12, a block in 11x14, and a block in this size here. What is that, 18x24? I'm not sure exactly, but it's a big one. So I have those three, and they're all open and ready to go. This is a pad, not a block, by the way. And then I have, I'll go over to the other watercolor blocks. I have this Canson Montville, which I think I actually purchased this when I still had my studio open, because I would always kind of stock up. Then I was kind of planning for the future, knowing that I was having children. My son had just been born, and I was kind of stockpiling things because we knew we were going to have more kids, and we ended up having twins, so I ended up staying home with them. So I had ended up buying some huge blocks. These are 18x24. These are a little bit bigger than the others. Those must be 12 by 16, 15 by 18, I'm not sure. Anyway, I have 3 of these. 2 are unopened. I've got some smaller blocks. The Montville. Montville is also a really nice watercolor paper. I hope I'm not making you guys sick, but I have like 3 unopened blocks. I have some open blocks. I think I'm going to kind of put those on my next to use list because they're really great. As far as like an inexpensive student grade paper, they're wonderful. I also have some watercolor canvas. This is by Fredericks. I'm kind of lukewarm on this. It's kind of fun, but I have to say I prefer paper, but it's nice to have this for situations where I need my work on a stretch canvas. Maybe I'm going to cover it with like a Dorland's wax or something and have it just hung naked on the wall. It's a nice option. And then this is this is just a homemade folder that has my torn down full sheets. My full sheet watercolor paper is too big to fit on my rack down here, but also I like to keep it upstairs in a temperature controlled environment. It's in a big flat file under my bed. So, and I have hundreds of sheets of 22 by 30 artist watercolor paper upstairs, and I just take out a few sheets at a time, tear them down, put them in these folders just labeled as what they are. Like that's Langton Prestige on the top. I have Arches hot press, Arches cold press and rough, and a bunch of different kinds, and I just kind of keep them in there and use them up, and then when I run out, I go and tear down some more paper and put it back in there. So that works really well for me because those are the papers I really like to use. But there's no reason I shouldn't be using those too, especially for quick tutorials. So I have also a pad of 9x12 canvas paper. This is just like this is not a real canvas. It's just, that's yellow label, Strathmore yellow label. It's you know, almost like just a textured paper that looks like canvas. I don't really like it that much. This is real canvas, and I have to say I don't really like this that much either. So I've used it for some crafts, but it's maybe I should pass these on. I don't know, maybe, or use them for quick tutorials. I'm not sure. I'm not in love with either of those. They don't spark joy, my friends. They do not spark joy. This is mixed media paper. This does kind of spark some joy. It's really heavyweight Canson brown. Strathmore brown label paper. And then I've got a couple pads of marker paper. I really like the Winsor & Newton Pro Marker paper. I'm not so hot on the Strathmore paper, I gotta be honest. Maybe I just need to use it some more. Don't like it as much as the Winsor & Newton. And then I've got some Bristol here, which I like it. I wish I had bought a smaller pad of it because this is kind of unwieldy to deal with because I tend to use it for card making. So having a huge pad of it, yeah, this is 14x17, is not as useful as having a smaller, cheaper 9x12 pad. So there you go. Buy what's best for the way you're going to use it versus what's the cheapest per square inch, I say. Now, live and learn. So that's what was on that shelf. Also here, there is some glass, and I didn't realize I had glass here. So I've got a couple sheets of fairly large glass there, and that wrapped up in that white paper down there is also glass. I really don't know. I think I'm going to hang on to it because often when I'm framing, something will happen. Either I'll order a frame in and the glazing will be scratched, or the glass will get broken from some clumsy artist who happens to walk by and kick it with their toe. So I need a piece of glass, and it's so much better to just be able to cut it myself from what I have rather than having to run to the hardware store. So I'm going to keep those. Plus I don't want to, even if I did want to get rid of it, because honestly I don't like to stockpile glass, but disposing it is difficult, and I don't want anyone to get harmed while the glass is going out in the trash or something like that. It's just tough to dispose of, so I might as well keep it until I can use it. So I'm going to put stuff back on there. I'm not really getting rid of much, honestly. Might get rid of the canvas paper. I actually probably won't get rid of the canvas paper. I'll probably use it in some mixed media applications and take a few things out to go with my stuff to take down to the library. Oh, I did find a couple interesting things. So I used to do a lot of work for magazines, and this was the first thing I ever got published in the Decorative Painter. And actually, this is just the step out for the magazine, where you had to do like a portion of the artwork several times and show how each thing progressed, and that was that, and I have a transparency in there that shows them where they need to put the text. So I thought that was kind of funny. I hung on to that, and I'm going to keep that. And then I also found my illustrations from the rainbow pants that I did back in 2013. They're all in there. I'll probably stick the new illustrations from Sea Glass in there when the publisher's done with it too. It's just a homemade folder, but I thought it was funny. Oh, and I did find a stack of student grade watercolor paper. This is from Blick. I don't know. I heard Blick is now using Fabriano Studio as their student grade line. I don't know what this is. This is, quite frankly, crap. So this, I think I am going to probably tear down and just put with my students' supplies. It's not, I mean, I don't want to say crap, like I'm letting my students use crap, my kids' students. It's a free class at the library. For splashing paint, for certain techniques, it's absolutely fine, but you're not going to be able to lift anything or scrub anything away, which the students really not doing that in like a quick, free, you know, younger kids class where I don't know if I'm going to have 2 kids or I'm going to have 25 kids. I just don't know. So I have to be very flexible with my planning with that. And if we're just doing a quick watercolor where we're not going to be lifting or scrubbing, that is absolutely fine. Unless you think that I just let my students use crappy supplies. I don't want to have that impression. There's always a pot for every lid. That paper is good for something, and that's definitely going to be used much better at a kids class than in my studio when I have so many other options clearly. So I'm going to load this rack back up. I'll show you how it looks when it's all done. I don't think it's going to look that much different. And yeah, that's the progress so far. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this portion of the video in or the portion previously because I didn't really do much here. I did dust every pad of paper and everything with that nasty, now it's gross. Look at all the dust that came off of there. So this is the stuff that's going down to the library for my kids' classes. Just the canvas paper, a pad of Sumi paper, and watercolor paper, because I actually brought all my Chinese brushes down there and we did some fun brushstroke painting, and they loved it, and that's not just, it's just not an art form I really enjoy that much. So so I want to bring that down there because they have a ball with it. And I put everything back in after it was dusted, and it's really not that much different. I did make sure to put stuff on top of the glass that I didn't think would get touched by children, so if my kids come down for a paper that they're not going to get harmed. I didn't put anything on the bottom shelf. I actually had this art paper here, this drawing paper that my kids like to use, but I thought, you know, that's going to get kicked and it's going to get dust on it, and I like to put a couple open sheets on top so my kids, when they go down for a paper, they can just grab it. So now I can say, just get the white paper that's, you know, almost at the top, and they can find it right there. So so yeah, it's not really that much different. I did it at a little bulldog clip to the edge of my folder so it wouldn't come open, and then I am going to put this sarong back down over it to keep the dust off. It wasn't too bad, but still, the surfaces of all the packages of paper that were on top did have dust on them, so I was glad to be able to dust that off and kind of start fresh. I did take a couple smaller pads out, and like mixed media and pastel and whatnot, and put them over there behind my mannequin on that little letter sorter, and I put the Arches watercolor paper right in the bin behind me where I go to grab stuff for tutorials every day, and I just thought I'd like to have that handy. So there's more space to grow if I want to. Not really that big of a change, but it just shows you that some storage just works and you leave it the way it is. Okay, I'm back at it this morning. I went through my jewelry area. Now, something that Marie Kondo said in her second book, Spark Joy, was that she was talking about photo albums, and somebody asked her if they could if they had to go through a photo album, if they were happy with it, or if they had to go through photo by photo and take out ones they don't like anymore. And she said, if you love a photo album, keep it. Keep the album as one thing. And I kind of went with that philosophy with all these containers of beads and whatnot. I just took them, looked at them, especially the clear ones on the side, because I didn't necessarily know what was in each one of these, you know, from looking on the edge. So I took everything down, looked at it, wiped down the shelves, dusted them, and put the things back that I wanted to keep. I did move some things though. I had a toolbox where I keep all my wire and artistic wire stuff, and I just put that up top there with some daubers that I use for kids classes, just because it fit the shelf better. It was always hanging over the edge up there, and that kind of bugged me. And these little helper hands, I love these because they look kind of like, it's like a little guy waving at you. I just love these little things. And I have a test tube rack full of seed beads and smaller beads back there, and I just love looking at that. So now I can have it so I can see both of those things. I did take some stuff off the top shelf. In that black box is all my foam stamps and stuff for jelly printing, and I looked through that and I was happy with what was in there. Then I have 2 things of wire there, which I went through. They were all good, and that is back stock jewelry supplies and jewelry trays for when I'm laying out projects, and so that's all good. I did take some beads out of there that were definitely for kids projects and put them away with the kids stuff, and this is what I got rid of. That is a 3-drawer thing chock full of alphabet stickers, rub-ons, and like photo corners, stuff I never use in my scrapbooking, so I'm going to give those away along with a case to somebody who scrapbooks. These were some ombre ink pads that I made, and they worked great, but I found after I made them, I just never went back and used them again. So I have some empty ink pads that I can fill and make my own ombre ink pads if I want to do that again. Just, it was never a trend that I really jumped on. Just some random things that were in those bins that I didn't like. And this is a set of stamps, which I thought, oh, how great. I'll just use these for when I am packaging up like paintings for sale, because I always need a fragile or a do not bend or photos enclosed to go on the envelopes, but I always have to handwrite them. But I think I'm just going to take out the stamps that I actually would use, maybe mount them on a piece of wood so that they're ready to go, and then give away the rest of them, because that whole set, it's just daunting to look at and to find and pull out the one I want, put it on a block. I'm just not using it like that, so so I got rid of it. And I had several reed diffusers tucked up there, which is amazing. I never knocked them over and made a huge mess. So one I'm using right now. We'll see how I like the smell. The other one smelled horrible and I threw away. And so that's pretty much there. I also did organize my packaging drawer, which is not very exciting. I'll show you. Hold on a second. Here I'm over on the other side. So I have drawers under this bench over here. We peeked under there the other day. I showed you what was under there. So basically I have a couple drawers like this just full of plastic packaging, and I had everything stacked up on themselves, and when I'd go to find like a 6x9 bag, I'd have to, you know, reach under different bags, and they would get all mixed up, and then I couldn't find the size I wanted, and the bags got crinkled and wrinkled. And so I went through and I threw away any crinkled and wrinkled ones, and I stacked them up so they're on their edges. So I could see I have enough 6x9 bags to last a lifetime. I use them the most, but why did I order another package of them? I had so many. This was ridiculous. I mean, obviously, not knowing what I had, I ordered more, and it's probably going to take me a lifetime to use these, although I do use them a lot, so I'm keeping them for now. And just like these are really great for organizing stamp sets and die sets together, these little CD packets. But again, I bought them in bulk thinking that, well, if it's a way better deal, buy them in bulk, way more than I needed. But I think I'll probably get through them because I can use them to package up smaller greeting cards as well. And then I've got my small envelopes for earrings and whatnot. But man, game changers. Put things vertically whenever you can. Put paper vertically. When you stack things up horizontally, it's hard to get to the things underneath. Things get compressed. If you believe in Marie Kondo's theory of your items being happier certain ways, I think these are happier this way than just being, you know, crushed on top of one another. And I'm definitely going to be able to get to the right bag for the right package, the right item I'm trying to package up a lot quicker and easier. This also brings me to another point because I just I figured up all of my expenses and whatnot for my accountant so I can get my taxes done. And I realized that I spent more in rent on the booth that I rent to sell my art and jewelry and stuff than I actually made in sales. So that's kind of a sobering thought, and I would, because I knew I was pretty much right on breaking even, but I actually was at a loss this year, and so it's kind of making me think I either need to put more effort into that or I need to cut my losses and get out. So I'm kind of deciding on that right now. I really don't have more time to put into that. It's not something I can really squeeze a lot of income out of anyway. So I'm just trying to decide what's going to be the best way to go there. Do I spend time? I did my hair today. I'm just like, I usually don't. Do I spend time on that, or do I just cut my losses and go? So that's something, you know, I think you deal with bigger issues in your life when you declutter, when you take the time, take stock of everything you have. I think it makes you take stock of bigger things. So that's my theory of it anyway. So all I have to do now is I am going to vacuum this area. I'm pretty well done, I feel. I showed you these stacks of the big stacks of magazines I have over here. I'm going to put those in my filing cabinet. They don't need to be out here. I don't really access them, but I want to keep them because I pick them up and they do bring me joy. I get a kick out of it because it was so hard to get my work published in magazines. Now there's not very many arts and crafts magazines out there, so I am so glad I was able to get my work into some of them while the industry was still around. I mean, there are a few magazines now, there's just not as many, and I think it's going to be fun for my grandkids to see and for me to look back at when I'm older. And they do, I mean, I always got a thrill when I get the magazine in the mail, and I still get a kick out of them. So those are going to go in my filing cabinet, and that's going to free up 2 more cubes. I don't really have anything I need to put in them yet, but I'm going to clean out the kids craft area, and some things that I've stashed over there I'm going to be bringing in here. I'm going to be putting I have some gift wrap stuff here still. I'm going to be putting that out there so that everyone can access it and find what they need, and they don't have to come to me when a present needs to be wrapped. They can do it themselves. So it's a big shuffle, and I'm also going to show you the big discard pile when we're all done here. I have a mountain of things I'm getting rid of, and that's not counting the 6 huge contractor trash bags I've already taken out. So this has been so much work, but I'm so glad that I've done it and that it's almost done. So we'll be back when we're done, I guess, because that's really all I have left to do. I mean, I did go through my paintbrushes a little bit. I will show you that right now. I can just swing right around because it's right behind Jeff, right over there. I did go through my paintbrushes a little bit, mostly my acrylic brushes because those do get beat up. They were beat up a little bit. I took them out of this container. You probably remember seeing that. And I put my clay tools in there, which again, that's a supply that I tend to use in my kids' classes. And I went through just to kind of see what I had, and I put the real good ones back there, and I took the ones that weren't so great, but were probably all right for like kids to slap paint onto rocks or whatever I do in a kids class, and put them in a bag to take down to the library. And the rest of them I have been through recently, so I just took everything down, dusted the shelf, and put it all back. For now, I'm going to keep all my knitting needles and yarn stuff. I'm not going through that right now because I'm the type of person that knits in phases. I'll like make all kinds of stuff, and then it will be months before I touch yarn again. So I like being able to lend out my needles to people who need them, and to be able to create a project and not have to run to the store when I feel like it. So that's that in a nutshell. We'll see you back here in a minute, and I'll show you how it all turned out. Hey, all right, okay. Wow, it's done. I'm so excited, and it was a lot of work, but I wanted to kind of go through the process step by step. So for one, I hold myself accountable, and for two, because I was telling you guys about it on Facebook and whatnot, so that you can kind of see how I tackled it. I probably have more stuff still now than most people do because it's my job, and I teach classes, and I'm going back into those supplies a lot. They are getting used, and I do use a lot of these things on a weekly basis, so I pretty much knew where everything was. And I'm hoping that if maybe you don't have as much stuff, you might think, okay, if Lindsay could do it with all the stuff she has, I'm not going to have any problem doing this myself. I still have probably what people would consider excessive, but I think I have about the right amount for me. I might go through again in about 6 months and change my mind. I took the magazines out, put it in my filing cabinet, got rid of junk in my filing cabinet. I had more than enough room, and I ended up with 5 empty cubbies. So I think that's going to be plenty of space for me to go through the kids stuff that's over there and that end of the basement, and kind of get the pipe cleaners and pom-poms and kind of your typical kids craft products that I use in classes, put those in a bin in here, just pretty much pare down out there so I don't have because they have pretty much all my cast off storage drawers and stuff full of stuff, so I'm going to go through and consolidate that a little bit. And as promised, I will show you the discard heap that I need to tackle next because I don't like walking by it, and I want to neaten it up enough so that I can invite my crafty girlfriends over to come and take what they want home, and then I'll just box up the rest for Goodwill. But I'm going to show you the room here. I will do an in-depth studio tour, just kind of showing you where everything is for those of you that didn't want to see the whole nitty-gritty. So that's coming up too, so you will get a little bit more in that one, but I will for right now just kind of give you a look around the room, I guess. We have, the die cut area, plenty of space there on that shelf for me to add more. The only scraps of ribbon I kept were ones for costuming, because I don't plan my costumes until the day before Halloween, and then we scramble to just make something at home. It's so much fun. That's what I love about Halloween, and so I did keep my kind of costumey ribbon scraps. Dies, of course, are there. I took the little stand that I used to have my spinner thing on here. I took that stand and put it under my Big Shot, and underneath there I have glass plates that I use for palettes, and cardstocks all organized. I did get some more job ticket holders so I could kind of group them a little bit better than in page protectors, and Jennifer McGuire is the one that came up with that idea. I just wanted to give her a shout out. I put my cheap paints up here. This was out in the kids area because they used it mostly. When that runs out, I might actually put the pen racks that I have here on the corner of my main table over there so I can get them off of my workspace, but for right now I like having them within reach. So something that was cool that Marie Kondo said in Spark Joy was that she interviewed people that ran professional restaurants, and what they said was they don't make their kitchens easy to access everything. They make their kitchens easy to clean, and that makes everything more efficient. So with that in mind, that's why I decided to do my table like this. So the table is completely cleared off except for my marker racks and my spinner there with just my most often used stamping supplies, and like I said, the markers may go up there where the paints are when I run out of paints. But then under here, I put my scoring tool. I put my big trash can under there instead of having a little scrap bin on my counter, because then I always had to go and empty it a couple times a day. Why don't I just put my trash can under there? That makes more sense. And I took the spinny thing off the top so I could, hit the bin. My watercolor bucket can sit under there when I'm not using it. Scrap white paper, my peg stamps, all the things I want handy, but they don't need to be on my table taking up space. And I like that I tucked those bookcases under my table because they're not in the middle of the room. I don't have to walk around them. And then I got my watercolor supplies behind me for the most part. Tubes for refilling are underneath one of my benches. They don't need to be out. So those are there under that bench covered with cloth. Those are my necessary but not needed often supplies. Vertical storage. If you could take one tip away from this video, and for the KonMari method is to store things vertically. I used to have those boxes stacked up on each other here and there, and it was such a pain to get to any of them. By putting them vertically on the shelf, I could pull out any easel or any paint box that I want without disturbing the rest of them, and I had room to put my sewing machine right there, so it worked out really well. I also really like the big crates because if you're an artist, you end up with odd ball items that just aren't going to categorize very well or fit very well, and those are perfect for that sort of thing. So, and they're very inexpensive. And vertical, again, drawing paper vertically, that used to be stacked up horizontally, and it was, if I'd go to get like maybe 20 sheets of paper out to do a class, like another 10 would be hanging off the edge, you know, and it would look messy and they'd get dusty. So having all this vertical storage up here really helps. And then don't forget to use high spaces for stuff you don't need very often. And that bin right there is full of duct tape. If my kids want to do duct tape, I just pull the bin down and they can reach from it. Keep all your like stuff together, like all my jewelry making stuff is here. And you know, really question yourself. If you have a bin of stuff that you haven't used very often, look through it. Ask yourself if you're really going to use it. And if not, pass it on and don't feel guilty about it, because even if you spent money on it, even if you've held on to it for this year, for years and years and years, if it doesn't bring you joy, if you're not going to use it, why let it take up space? It's like you're paying rent to keep those items that you no longer want. I think of it like that. So give yourself permission to let go of something that no longer is useful to you or no longer brings you joy. And don't be afraid to move things around if they're not working the way you are. I say I'm done, but when I say I'm done, I mean I'm done right now. This is done. I have to maintain it, obviously, and I'll probably get new things and I'll get rid of some things as time goes on. And you know, your studio always evolves. If you look through my craft room tours for the past, I've been doing them for the past, I don't know, 6 years or so. If you go through there, you're going to see an influx and outflux of things that are different, things that have stayed the same. And you can kind of decide, you know, you pick things that'll work for you and, you know, eliminate things that won't. You know, not every tip I have is going to work for you. We all have different amounts of spaces. And I think that's why I like the Konmari method, is because you don't have to get rid of a lot of stuff. Everyone's gonna have their own amount of things they love and they're comfortable having near them. This may be too little for some people. This may be way too much for some people. For me, it's just right. I feel like I can breathe. I feel inspired to create, and that's what I wasn't feeling before. So I know some people were a little stressed out when they heard I was gonna be purging and getting rid of stuff, but I think everybody's got to find that right balance for themselves. As I promised, I'm going to show you the big heap of stuff that I need to organize for my friends, and some stuff I'm just going to pitch. But I didn't throw away any storage stuff yet, so we're just going to wander in through here. Those are the only metallic magnetic bins or containers that I kept on my filing cabinet. The other ones are in a basket. I'm not sure if I'll keep them just in case I want to go back to that storage or not, but whoa, this is scary. This is all stuff I'm getting rid of. Some is going to be thrown away. Some is going to be given away if it's good. There's still some kids stuff that I'm going to go through. But wow. And then the storage. I'm sorry the lighting is really awful over here, but I was just throwing like boxes that I might go back to for storage over here on the pinball machine and this basketball thing. And yeah, I've just got piles. There are some things on here that are just like empty storage. So I think that the other big tip I would give you is, as you empty things, take them out. Get them right out of your space so you're not tempted to fill that basket back up and slide it back on an empty shelf. Get the storage bins out. The only empty bin I have in here is that pretty little chicken wire basket. I just like the way it looked there. So that'll probably be like an in-progress thing. Oh, one other thing I want to get for here that I don't have, and I went to the Dollar Tree, but they didn't have them. I've seen these pretty little aqua letter sorters. They're about 9 by 12 little 3-inch tall bins, and I want to get 4. So I have 2 that go there and 2 that go on top of those binders, and those will be my projects in progress. Like when I pull papers and stuff for a scrapbook layout or for a card, I can just have them separated into those little bins, and they can wait there until I'm ready to create them. So I hope you found this helpful. I am so thrilled with how it came out. I actually found a couple clippings. Because that's another thing Marie Kondo says. I can't remember if it was in Spark Joy or in The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, but she had said that, like, if you see a room, if you're, like, flip through magazines, like architectural decorating magazines, find a room that sparks joy. Find something and do it once and then don't return to it, because you might be able to find, like, a bazillion things that spark joy. Put a bunch of magazines out, flip through them, find something that really, you're really like, yeah. And these pictures, these parrots with a breakout, for some reason I just really love that. I love these vintage oyster cans, and I just loved these bottles. So I think it's just this tropical color palette that really was kind of exciting. So I just kind of set them there for now, just so I could kind of look at them and see if that's something that I want to maybe incorporate some colors. I don't know. I just I just really like that. I get a lot going on in here, but I kind of like that brightness. And it works for me. It's not going to be right for everyone, but you just need to make your space work for you and not worry about how anybody else's looks. I want to thank Audible for sponsoring today's video and invite you to try Audible free for 30 days by visiting audible.com/frugalcrafter. You can download a book for free and it's yours to keep whether you choose to continue your subscription after the 30 days or not. I like to listen while I'm cooking, cleaning, painting, driving, and exercising. It's probably my favorite way to read. Click on the link in the video description to start your free trial today. Thanks for stopping by. Until next time, happy crafting.